by the way.
Okay.
This is a good conversation. I'll just go live right in the middle of it.
Sure. But
anybody's
like,
here.
Yeah. It's like their generation was like the last one to really kind of have to be like, well, you've had your youth and you've had your, your boyhood, like wonderment and, like flights of fancy, but it's time to like grow up and accept like the harsh realities.
Yes, that is a real childhood, which is why I tend to get along better with Greatest Generation is a long time ago. I didn't have a lot of exposure with Greatest Generation, but Boomers I get along with swimmingly.
Sure. And that was like the whole thing with Tolkien is just like the Lord of the Rings, like the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings was a very thinly veiled like reference to like what he went through with World War I. Like it was very very toned down and very sanitized, but it's just like I think that was like him trying, like, since he was writing it for an audience that was like younger, he was trying to present it to them in a way that they would understand without being like like traumatized by hearing about like the abject horrors of the First World War.
Well, yeah, so that's the environmental stuff. Like it was the environment that would make men grow up back in the day.
And well, that's like that's the story that is being told is it's Sam and Frodo are at the center of it because they are the young British boys who went off to war, and Sam comes back and he adapts back to life pretty. I don't want to say easily, but he adapts back to it more easily than Frodo does because he comes back, he has he gets a wife, he has like a bunch of kids, he's kind of like the hometown hero of the Shire. Whereas Frodo is just like, he's had the negative, like the negative endpoint, like impact of the hero's journey where it's, he has gone off and he has seen the world and he's gone back to what he used to know before. And it's like, he realizes that it's not like he can't just go back and like he's been forever changed in a way that he can't acclimatize to. And that's why he has to go off to like the Greylands with,
Gandalf and
yeah. Like with the elves and with, Gandalf, and that's where he goes because he's just like the Shire can't he's just become like too worldly and like the Shire can't contain him anymore.
This is kind of why I don't like the so the Lord of the Rings is not a super great mythos upon which to build a lot of first off, Tolkien said it was not allegorical. He hates allegory.
Yeah,
it's like he was actually kind of telling you not to make this into a mythos upon which you make your life decisions.
Well, it was a complete story loop. It's meant to be like the hero's journey of beginning, middle, end.
That's why I don't this is why I don't compare real life events to anything in Lord of the Rings, though. Because
sure, but I would also argue you shouldn't try to. You should it's like whenever people I'm gonna base my life around the lessons I learned in the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, well, that's
what
really
Aragorn
nice.
do.
Yeah. It's like, well, it's like that's really nice and everything, but it's just like that's not really what this story is for. It's supposed to be a nice little like morality play in three acts that it's got a beginning, it's a middle, and it's an end. Like you can't base a mythos on something that has a concrete end point where it's just over.
All I'm saying about childhoods though is that like it's not the world shouldn't be what makes you grow up. It should be your father. It should be your people around. It should be your mother too. Like women have a role in shaping masculinity.
Sure.
And it's like that's why I say that in the backstage, I said like I feel like modern Western childhoods are extremely fake and extremely cushy. It's like you're in retirement. It's like you live life backwards, where it's like you start out retired and then you slog for the rest until the grave. It's like that's totally backwards. You should be working your ass off like early, and then things get easier, which is what my childhood was like. So it's like when I see like these childhoods of, oh man, we're gonna give you lots of hope. You gotta. We're going to give you lots of hope. The bad guy's going to beat the dragon and all this stuff. And it's all really feel good. For me, my childhood was very much like sacrifice and you will overcome because you have been commanded to do so. And I'm starting to realize that like my childhood has very much shaped my mindset and why I feel like a foreigner, even though I'm extremely loyal to the United States above all. The only thing above the USA is God. I think God seems to love the USA because he keeps giving us lithium deposits and oil. I don't know why. Thanks. It's like your dad slipping like $200 bills like in the crack of your IROC. It's like I know my boy needs to eat. It's like
well you've been behaving, so here's your allowance. It's because it's like I forget, Cosmo, was it you or was it you, Alex, who like posted that thing where it's like the percentage of like people who believe that God is real versus like
That's what I
Europe?
posted. It's
Yeah, and
another
like
map.
yeah.
It's a
the
good,
numbers
yeah.
are like
Save that.
abysmally low in Europe, and it's like, well, your brother's been acting up, but son, you've been a good boy, so here's your weekly lithium deposit allowance.
Yeah. Yeah, beat those chai coms with this. The miracle is that my gun was loaded when I needed it, which is probably a miracle that people experience more often than not, especially at wartime. Of like, I shouldn't have been prepared, but I was prepared. Things just turned out well. It just happened to be that the German counter sniper had to take piss at that very moment, or something like that.
What was it? The bit from Schindler's List where Ray finds his character keeps trying to like execute that one like Jewish prisoner, and like his pistol keeps like jamming, and like he loads a fresh magazine and like jams again, and then he tries to like clear the jam, and it just like it doesn't work, so he just gets pissed off and he lets the guy live.
That seems like so frustrated with low quality equipment that he just lets yeah, that's funny. I haven't seen Schindler's List actually. That is even too dour for me.
It's pretty good. It's very sappy, and it's like I think people made fun of Spielberg at the time when it came out, where it's like, wow, you did it, Steven. You managed to turn the Holocaust into a feel good family picture.
Oh, is that true? I don't think that's. Are you pulling my leg? I haven't seen.
People that was like a joke for like the longest time. It was just like he made the Holocaust like very saccharine with like the way it was presented. And like he also it's not to say that Oscar Schindler was a bad person. To be honest, I think he was a very good person, but it's like he took a lot of liberties with Oscar Schindler's like character, to like make him seem more sympathetic and like endearing than he was in real life. Which I mean, that's just movies though. Like they always do that.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of the Holocaust is probably not something anybody wants to hear, including survivors, and there's a lot of stuff you just want to leave behind. I guarantee you that there's a good number of men who survived the Holocaust by stealing food from other people, because you're in a desperate situation. Like no one wants to talk about that, but there's villainy in even the victims.
It's like and like that's I think that like but that is like a very interesting like point of contention about the Holocaust is yes, there was a lot of like human like suffering that like led people is just kind of like you got to do what you got to do to survive, but there are also stories that are told of like men who like prisoners who went out of their way to do the right thing for like for more people than themselves. Like I forget his name, but there was this, I think he was Polish. I want to say he was Polish, but he could have been German, I'm not sure, but I remember reading the story. It was because he was like kind of mechanically minded, and like the Germans knew that before he went to the camps, they sent him out as like a bomb disposal guy, where he would go out and find like the unexploded like ordnance and like disarm it for them. And one day while he was out, he found a beehive. And so what he did is he smoked the bees out using a pack of cigarettes that one of the German guards had gave him. And then he like when all the bees were gone, he cracked open the beehive and he rubbed the honeycomb like on his chest, and then like took it back and like scraped it off and like gave it to the other prisoners so they could have like sustenance. And so it's like you hear stories like that, and it's like sometimes the human in spirit endures regardless, but sometimes it endures in ways that are more altruistic than not.
Correct. You're gonna get the spectrum, and I feel like the exploring the spectrum of humanity is kind of what Mythos is for. And
sure.
I mean, let me know when you want to segue into the subject of the night. I usually try to do that around 15 minutes, but
you can anytime. That was
spectrum of humanity that would be. Now I'll do it later. The that's why I think a good Mythos to me, it's probably my I'm not anti Lord of the Rings. I actually love those movies, and I love listening about the lore. But I find that it's very childish to me in that I feel like a lot of like third world countries like China, their mythologies tend to be. I'll even give you other examples, not China, but I find that their mythologies, ancient Greek mythologies, Slovakian mythologies, Chinese, a lot of these old folk country mythologies actually would explore the spectrum of humanity, and then like solidify that in stories, and that gave people pre-experience. That's what I call like experiencing life is actually the worst way to learn. Honestly, like everything you do about your education should be there to make it so you don't have to be experienced in life in order to be competent at it, right? If you could do that, like actually getting robbed, we did the pre-show, like actually getting robbed is not as preferable, though sometimes it's necessary to learn about the world. Maybe it's better to have a mythology where it's like you learn about robbers and stuff. And that's why I think civilizations will sustain themselves on the stories they tell. And the Bible's got a fantastic spectrum of humanity in it.
Sure. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's
the humans are not the good guys.
Story ever told, and it is like it's got literally every genre of story you can find it in the Bible. There's there's romance, there's action, there's horror, there's like it's all in there, and like the lessons are universal to pretty much and I think that's why Christianity takes so well to like most cultures that are like capable like innately of like proper like what's the term like second not second pattern second order reasoning and like it's just like the morality is like basically universal.
The Bible also has the in addition to the modern genres, it has the 4 classical Aristotelian genres plus the 2 more which were not discovered by Aristotle but are canonical genres still. These being poetics, comedies, epics, tragedies, and then the new ones are the hero's journey or the monomyth, and then the 6th one is cosmic horror.
Oh yeah, big time.
If there was ever like an AI movie about the Bible, I'd definitely have Nicolas Cage being one of the prophets that just sees shit. Like,
he's supposed to be in some movie coming out soon where at first a lot of people were like reporting that he was going to play Jesus, but that was actually like misinformation. He's going to be playing Joseph. It's going to be like a story about like Jesus and his like middle like youthful years, and it's going to be from like Joseph's perspective.
Oh, I wonder if that's going to explore the Apocrypha at all. There's some Apocrypha on Jesus' childhood, which fun stories. They're fun stories. The stories that we're dealing with now, I feel like there's a rejection though. Like there's a rejection. Like there's a certain taste. You know how people say like, oh, taste is subjective. I was like, to an extent, okay. Taste is actually way more objective than people want to admit.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Mahler made his entire career on the back of no. Like taste has a very strong objective component.
Correct. And which is why like all these modern stories, like those who try to seize the means of mythos rather than the means of production, because we have these like sort of communists in Hollywood who are trying to like change mythos to give the message they want. It's like their message sucks. Nobody likes their message. There's no way to make it narratively satisfying at all. So people have rejected it, right? And I'm telling people to the only way you overcome that, right? The only way you can make your audience swallow that really disgusting pill of the message is with pure sycophancy and parasocialism. Like not socialism, but like parasocial connection, right? Like
like to the actors or the directors or whatever.
Yeah, and to the message itself, like their entire public school, public education and post-secondary education has been in reinforcement of these stupid ideas. So they and they have a revolutionary mindset. They want to reinforce this. They become invested in the message, regardless of the quality. And that is not something the right is immune from either, as we were finding.
No, and it's like I tried to say that. Like last week when I was in the pre-show, but I couldn't phrase it exactly the way I meant it. But it's like I really hate it when people try to use the argument of like, oh, it's like you're being too hard on it. It's made for kids. It was like, okay, well, like here's the thing. Like they say like, oh, it's for kids. It's like if you need to simplify the ideas because kids aren't as smart as adults, that's one thing. But it's like if you're trying to say that when you're trying to excuse poor quality, that's when that argument doesn't work. And that's why when people try to be like, well, this new Star Wars movie, the story was badly written, it's full of plot holes, characters don't act like themselves, like from a production standpoint, a lot of the effects were sloppy, a lot of this like the fighting was bad, and it's like, well, you're just being too hard, it's for kids. I was like, okay, do kids not deserve good quality? Yeah, it's like, do kids not deserve good quality?
Well, these people will try to have their kids listen to Mozart at the same time as giving them this slop.
Yeah.
Kids actually appreciate way above what you expect them to, and that's actually one of the communistic media communists, I guess is what I'm calling them. The media communists, like all communists, are there to erase distinction. That's what they want to do. The only distinction now is insider and outsider, right? So the problem is if you give people elevating entertainment, you're going to find out that some kids get it and some kids don't, and that's a source of distinction.
Well, there is a term for what you're talking about, and it's called Gramscian proliferation, because there was a communist thinker named Gramsci who he basically correctly the Italian
guy, right? He looks like a goblin.
A little bit, yeah, but he correctly postured that like culture is the most culture of like the arts and the entertainment is one of, if not the most like important and powerful vector of like swaying public opinion. And so his whole thing with like his media strategy was you had to inject like Marxist ideology into every possible facet of the arts and entertainment and media and culture, because if you make it impossible for people to get away from it, they will eventually like succumb to it. And it was like the whole thing of he correctly isolated that when people are going through hard times, they will look for cheap disposable entertainment as a way to just completely get them away from like their problems. It's like, no, they can never get away from their problems, because if they're always thinking about their problems, then they can be more easily radicalized. And so that's why the communists have the communist undercurrent of the world have so heavily gone into the arts and media in general, because it's like the most potent vector for them to like get their ideology injected.
Right. The I think Alex is putting on like a sling to hold the cat, because the cat's constantly bothering him. Hey, is this a cat sling?
His papoose.
Is that what a papoose is? You're on mute. Oh, you're on mute, Alex. You're good.
It's gonna be for the next animal that starts trying to start shit.
That's funny. Yeah, the problem is if they allow any media to get out there that isn't authorized Marxist media, that media will always be better, because Marxism doesn't make stuff taste better. Marxism is actually anti-human nature.
And it almost always results in it being worse, because it's the what was the one Ray Bradbury story about where they force everyone to be equal?
Is that Harrison Bergeron?
Yes, Harrison Bergeron. Yeah, because that's the one where it's like, it's communism. Like people try to be like, the arts are inherently communist, and it's like, well, no, they're not, because the thing about the arts is it's a place where the best will excel.
Yes.
And like eventually
the arts are actually really capitalist. It's all the losers who become communists.
It's not even like a capitalist communist argument. It's just like the cream will always rise to the top. The best will always
meritocracy.
Yeah, it's like it will, like the best artist will always obviously be the best. But like that's why you see so much like weird like attempts to subvert like what is beauty, what is quality. Right. It's because they like enough communists are like, well, I don't care what I'm suited to do. I want it to be an artist, so you need to make people consume my art. And it's like, well, your art's not very good. It's like, well, convince them it's good. And so that's why you see a lot of like in like a lot of media, you see people talk about like in video games specifically. It's like, why are they making all these characters look like ugly on purpose? It's like, that's exactly why. They want to challenge like the concept of like, what do you find beautiful, so that you can be tricked into accepting something that's very visibly unattractive as attractive.
It's a rebellion against instinct, like human nature, itself, right? Like they're trying to educate us out of human nature.
Yes, exactly. And it's not working, because people just keep rejecting it. And like you can't trick the biological impulses out of people.
Yeah, I think I saw one funny post on X earlier today that said that we're getting there. We'll get to the E-drama soon. We're easing into it. Some vegetarian mom was upset because her brother was slipping her baby chicken nuggets.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, and then the baby just wants chicken. Well, it's not a baby; it's like a toddler. But the toddler wants the meat. The toddler wants chicken nuggets, much to the mother's chagrin. So the same thing with like dog moms, as they call them, who are trying to like, oh, my dog is a vegan. I was like, no, he's fucking not.
Did you ever watch Futurama, like when it was on?
Oh yeah.
The bit with the hippies are like, he's just like, you can't mess with biology. He's like, yes, you can, man. We taught this lion to eat tofu. It's just the most like sickly, malnourished lion you've ever seen. He's just like coughing, like dying.
Well, their women can't resist it either. Like the leftist women will try to convince themselves they want what they call a conscientious and a proper man, but then they see a gigantic chud fireman show up, and they're like, "Oh, happened during the Canada trucker protests." As he started having all these like leftist women saying, "Well, I do admit they're quite brawny." These truckers. I was like, yeah, it's like because your biology wants that. A lot of these. Okay, so before we get into the e-drama, a lot of this Marxist stuff is a rebellion against human nature, and what it manifests in for women is beauty standards, because their innate need for beauty, which beauty is a way of capturing, I don't know, social capital. It's a way of getting social status, right? Being beautiful gives you social status. And if you want to throw the status quo over, you have to eliminate beauty. So they actually try to uggify themselves as almost like a scarring ritual to make themselves more equal.
It's not even necessarily making themselves equal. It is that that turning against beauty and destroying the beautiful is actually representative of their metaphysics.
It's a rebellion against
their basic worldview is satanic.
Yeah. It's a rebellion against being itself.
It's anti-life basically, because it's like if you get like right down to it, it's like the things that they wish to like further and like what they want people to stop doing. It's just like if you boil it all down, you take the bullshit all out. It is just anti-life. Like if they got everything they wanted tomorrow, the human race would die out in probably less than a generation.
Same thing with incels. I found that incels it's not about sex. It's actually just entirely about their rebellion against being itself. I was like, I did not.
It's like there's so many like layers to that onion that it's just like, but sex is not one of the layers. It's
not. The incel rebellion against being is that man is only validated through the eyes of a woman, the acceptance of a woman.
Yeah.
So they're trying to rebel against acceptance of women.
Yeah, that's definitely a component to it, and it's just kind of like for them, it's the lack of sex it probably doesn't even weigh that heavily on their mind. If you
they'll take a compliment, like a woman complimenting them would be more meaningful to them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like the lack of sex is like it's an excuse for them to be like, this is what made me this way. And it's like, well, there's like 5 other things that made you this way before the lack of sex. It's like that's just the most like socially poignant one in your mind's eye.
Yeah, and this is how I'm going to pivot this masterfully, is that we could see that as a lack of sex is not what makes these people this way. Guys like Elijah Schaffer, like on the right, it was like obviously he is getting some sex, but he's like there's some just desperate need for power and acceptance. And we use the derogatory term theater kid, but we use it for a reason. It's because these a theater kid, we all know theater kids. If you've ever known one, it's like they always need more attention. And if you give them a compliment, they're just gonna. It's like giving a beggar a quarter. You know, like in that South Park episode about homeless people. It's like you give them a compliment and they're like, more. I need more. Like they'll go for more attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
because I did theater in high school. So yeah, I was around plenty of theater kids. Like it's just
there you go. So you're
there is definitely like that type. Where it's just like, yeah, it's like they think they're like Brad Pitt or like whatever because they were in the spring production of Grease or whatever as Danny Zuko.
Yeah, they can pretend. Yeah, as acting is a way of escaping from being as well.
Sure.
Strangely enough, which is why I think a lot of actors kind of mesh well with this. But there's nothing you can do if you feel insufficient. Like if you feel insufficient and you want to rebel against being, you're either going to become voraciously hungry for power, which I think is what we'll talk about Elijah Schaffer, what he did here in a second, and why that's something interesting to talk about, because it is a greater phenomenon on the right and the left. The right and the left are not as different as they make you want to believe. This voracious, the manifests in 2 different ways: rejection or voracious consumption. Right? The rejection is the incel of like, I hate all ladies, like the Nick Fuentes types of just full rejection, which is easy to do if you are a homosexual. Not homosexuals, but like if you are a homosexual, it's really easy to be the mascot of rejecting women when it's like It's like the mascot of rejecting meat, and it's like you've got that weird tick allergy that you got.
Look how easy it is for me to reject these foids. Like, well, yeah, man, but you're gay. You weren't going to choose them in the first place.
Gay as hell, yeah. Or he's about he's within the next few years of like James O'Keefe honey trapping him somehow. Which is like, by the way, James O'Keefe now is just pulling in whoever the hell will accept the date and then like talk themselves up. It's like, oh my god, the FBI is targeting this. I was like, no, that guy's like basically the secretary. So he doesn't know shit. Oh, no one's getting charged. Like, yes, people will talk big game when they're on a date and say they know stuff they don't actually know. It's like, as a journalist, you got to have some veracity. So I'm like, what is James O'Keefe just going to get like interns and shit at some point? It's like Maury or something. It's very daytime television show level of journalism.
Oh yeah,
it's like, man, you fell off, brother.
Yeah, just slop journalism. Yeah.
What was it? Well, he used to when the corporate world, it's a lot easier to trap him. He should focus in the corporate world. But I think there's been this thing where he wants to target like Department of Justice people. But the Department of Justice and most government institutions are way too compartmentalized to actually get a straight answer out of anything. I don't even think the secretaries in charge of those places actually know what's going on.
They don't.
Well,
that's why they're.
That's part of the problem, and why this is actually like not a terrible idea. Low key is like, okay, it's compartmentalized, but the reality is, that's your appointees. Like the institution is essentially constructed itself such that it is able to survive appointees indefinitely. So of course they don't know what's going on. The top level management means very little.
Right, deep state and all that.
And the compartmentalization makes it very hard to deal with. And like, maybe they can just like put their heads down and like slow roll for 4 years or whatever. Like, you got to actually get these people, and you got to get them like essentially one at a time.
Well, yeah, it's fine. But it's like it undermines your message if you get some unverified. Get someone who's like more important, like a director level or something, who might know something. But last one James O'Keefe pulled was it some Intel something or other, which is if someone revealed that's just a fancy title, but it's actually just a secretary, more or less. Like he doesn't really know anything.
There was like a thing I read. It was going over like the history of like the COINTELPRO program from back in like the 50s and 60s. And a lot of that compartmentalization of like very important like sections of like national security, the weird like zigzags and like spider webs of how everything is connected, and like it seems like it's very counterintuitive to running a railroad a good way. They do that on purpose because the CIA realized pretty much in like the middle of the 50s, like, okay, just trying to keep everything secret is not working because there's always going to be a leak. So what we do is we create this random zigzag and like all these like different like compartments and departments of this and secretary of that, and like they just kind of like tangle the web to where there's a few people who know how to like they know where to look to get everything to flow correctly, but it's like an outsider trying to come look on the inside, they wouldn't know what they're looking at. It would look like a rat's nest of wires.
That's a good point. And a lot of these places I think are organized like that on purpose, even if it's fairly benign. I bet you the IRS is organized like that.
Oh, definitely, because like a lot of people forget, like the IRS doesn't just like collect your taxes. It like they do have like a law enforcement arm where they go after like criminal organizations through tax policy.
Yeah, absolutely. I just realized that we've not caught the audience up on what's going on, although they probably already know a lot of this. It's in the title. Elijah Schaffer asked Grok about that. If you want a full story, but essentially he's made famous from being on the riot squad during the Summer of Love 2020 riots. If I believe that's correct. Alex Cosby got his baby greyhound in his pouch. He's a kangaroo maxing. He's marsupial maxing. Yeah, you got a pocket prince.
He'll fall asleep in here if I just like hold him through the zoomies.
That's cute. Yeah, he's a greyhound. He wants to run around, but he can't.
A man and his dog.
Man and his dog. He's a good dog. Well, most of the time. Anyways, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, all right. So Elijah Schaffer was made famous by the being on the riot squad. That was coverage of the riots during the 2020. When we should have been masked at home. there was a cutout for people to have a race riot because America loves a good race riot, especially post 60s. He was covering it. I don't remember if he was on the ground with Kyle Rittenhouse or other stuff like him and Julio Rosas. Oh gosh, what's the girl's name? It's not Bethany. That's somebody else. I apologize. I don't remember the names. She wisely got out of the business, I think, and is just living a quiet life. Julio Rosas is doing a good job still. Elijah is chasing the dragon, I think, on the podcast.
Everyone who's on the ground eventually gets out of the ground game for like that domain of beats. Like the second you're offered a commentary job and don't have to like bust your ass traveling, being up at like 3 a.m. watching people fight cops and shit. Like,
well, the other thing is like it's hard to do like good journalism if people know who you are. That's why Hunter S. Thompson stopped doing gonzo journalism when he was like in his like mid 40s because he like too many people knew who he was, and so he couldn't get the story anymore. People would just like come up to him to like party, and so he's just like I'm done with this. I'm just gonna like go write like prose and like submit my opinions to like newspapers and like Playboy and stuff like that, and I'm just gonna like live in Colorado and just chill out.
Right, he's got name recognition. That's what happens with these guys. They get on the ground and they get a lot of name recognition, and then they, as you said, Cosma, they not retreat. They enjoy the spoils of their achievements and take a nice commentary gig wherever that leads them. But his commentary gig didn't go super duper great. I believe I don't know if he went straight to the Blaze, but as Dirty Engineer here points out, he did go to the Blaze, and there were shenanigans. The Jack Murphy thing was really funny.
That was really funny.
Full disclosure, I was in the liminal order at the time because I was like $700 to join a cult. Fuck yeah. That's great. I don't even have to move anywhere or do anything. I just joined a cult. And I was like inside the liminal order. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about that while we're on the subject. But yes, on this show was when Jack Murphy got exposed. By the way, the commenters, the super chat was did more journalism than Sydney and Elijah had bothered to do. It was going to be a puff interview. I have my theories. I recognize a lot of liminal order like talking points from Elijah Schaffer. It's like, what does he say? Something like you come and then you come to your senses, which is by these like little rhetorical things are thought out. They essentially what it is like post utne clarity, right? Like Sure. It's like, okay, but what they do is they'll process it into a compartmentalizable phrase that can be easily repeated, which is cult behavior. It's indoctrination behavior. And liminal order wasn't really.
It's also the behavior of like intellects that can't distinguish between essentially between substance and magic spells.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because I just wake up and most dudes are just always have their senses. Like we don't ever not come to our senses. We're always at our senses. You're just a degenerate weirdo. Elijah.
A lot of that stuff, like the post, like whatever clarity. It's like that's not a thing. That's just you. That's you trying to dodge the consequences of your action. Be like, oh, I wasn't thinking clearly. It's like, no, I think you knew what you were doing, but you're trying to find a reason why it's like why you can't be blamed. It's basically saying like I did this, but I didn't really do anything wrong because I was out of control, so I couldn't stop myself. It's like it's trying to like pass the buck to where you can escape like negative consequences without having to apologize.
Well, it's you build on top of that. Okay, bro, but metacognition is also your responsibility. If you know something puts you out of control, then it's your responsibility to control the thing that puts you out of control.
And he seems to be an addict a lot of ways. And what people will do, like addicts will do as a coping mechanism, is try and blame the thing that brought them there or the thing that's trying to bring them down versus themselves, right? Like, so you'll have Elijah like completely like losing his mind on the internet rather than just take accountability for himself. Like he'll say like, in other words, it's the double down.
Yeah, and I saw that tweet that you quoted or like responded to this morning where it's like he's like someone was like he hasn't just like doubled down, he's already into the like it's been like 4 hours, he's already in the triple down stage.
No, he's basically he's gonna eventually like say fuck them kids in relation to his own children at some point. I was like, what was he saying? His dick still works? I was like, what is going on? This man is not thinking clearly. There's a really funny skit that I saw online on YouTube, which was like this it was like this like a business guru who says like I only speak with post nut clarity or something like that. And it's like you guys are all still in pre nut confusion. What do you do is that the students would ask him something and then he'd like go to the back room for a second and then come out and answer them.
Okay,
like
no, I've seen that. I've seen that bit that you're talking about. Yeah.
Could you imagine? It'd be so funny. I want to make a fake paper that says like your IQ temporarily jumps up by 25 points just for about 5 minutes. So for 5, it's just because I want to see some writer who's just like making his day through like 5 minutes at a time. Productivity.
The only thing that would make that like perfect is like you have to have like a physical scan of the paper after you write it. Like it's like a collected manuscript, but what you do is you take a paintbrush and like dip it in tea and then just like flick it at the paper so there's like weird yellow splotches.
Oh, so we're trying to make our own like fake was it chivalric book that
it's just like the fake stains to like back up the theory that like you're smarter if you're doing this like every couple of minutes. It's like while he's doing the paper, he's doing that's what would like make the bit just like that's what would sell the bit like a little bit more.
I have a typewriter, and I gotta say, like having an actual typewriter does make you think a lot more about what you're gonna write.
Is it a true manual or is it an electric typewriter?
It's electric. Man, I don't have manual money. I'm not a total full. Alex, you're muted.
It's not one of those Nietzsche typing orbs.
Oh God, I saw that. That was an abomination.
My grandmother left me her IBM Selectric, and so I have. I don't hardly use it just because I haven't been able to get ink balls for it in like forever. But like it is cool.
You can usually find on eBay. There's some people that sell like reproduction ink things. I haven't tested them out, but I got mine behind the dumpster of a bank. We got some old ass like country bank, and they're throwing out a typewriter. I was like, "Does this thing still work?" And they're like, "I have no idea." I was like, "Or I'll just take it." But I was on my motorcycle at the time, so I actually had to like lash it onto the back of my motorcycle, and like I ended up having to use bungee cords to make a makeshift backpack. I just have this typewriter on my back. It was fun. I'm going to try dictation though. I think that would work better for me because I've been trying to write, and I've written 1,000 or so words on the Age of Merchants because I think it's going to elucidate a lot of things.
I think that does work. I haven't tried it myself, but my dad used to do it a lot when I was younger. He had like one of those little like micro cassette things, and I would just like hear him up in his office, like just recording his thoughts on like business meetings and like product launch stuff, and then he would just go like type it out.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to see if AI can keep up. AI's gotten pretty good about dictation. Yeah, to return to Elijah Schaffer, we're all talking about things that help us think clearly and put stuff down onto paper. Obviously, this man is not thinking clearly about the stuff he's putting down onto Twitter. And I think it's just this is pure addict behavior. So what you end up having is you have incels, feminists, you have incels, Marxists, and addicts. And they're all kind of similar in that they're rebelling against their own nature rather than trying to take accountability for it and then improve themselves. They're just allowing themselves to be victims to being itself and then rebel against being itself. So he's just full on rebelling against decency, I guess. What do you think?
I don't even know if you could say he's an addict per se, because like at least with addicts, like there is a component that like they wish they could stop. Like they feel bad about what they do when they're not doing it, and they wish they could stop.
That's a stage of addiction. That's maybe later. It's a stage. That's not. A lot of addicts are really happy about it. If you want to see a movie called Wolf of Wall Street, that will show you like these people are addicts all the time.
I've seen it, but it's just like
they're not. They're not apologetic until very late in their addiction stage.
Yeah, but it's just like right now, it just seems like he's not like right now. It just seems like he's doing it because he thinks it's fun, and he's only pretending like, I'm just an addict. I'm just out of control. But it's like I think you're just doing this because you like it, man.
I think it's a front. Yeah.
I think that's right. I will augment the category of addict, in that a lot of people really need to like retemper and re-examine their relationship with their sexual libido. It's a fucking problem, and it shows. And I mean, I think the rebellion against being like may come somewhat with like being ostensibly right wing, but also like, quite faggy or bisexual. And and just having like
that's the weird
no mastery over lust, and that you're essentially serving it all the time.
He's essentially like isn't he like he's not a confirmed bisexual, but there's like enough rumors there, and also just the way he acts and talks.
Sure,
there's definitely some weirds, and I made a comment actually to this Poe fellow who's on Twitter. Is like, normally when women say that like sex is about power, the ladies, it's full of shit. It's just bullshit. But for him, sex actually is about power. Like you just look at date codes about what he was saying and when, and it corresponds to his extramarital affairs. I was like, this man is like angry that she is having a successful relationship. He wants her to belong to him, even though he already has a wife. It's like, this is madness.
Yeah, and that's something that I've kind of seen. I just call it this isn't like an official term. It's just like my personal terminology. I just call it Don Draper syndrome, where it's like a lot of guys, like once they get more than one woman like on the hook, like it's just they think they're like some kind of like powerful like man, like some kind of playboy who can just like keep all these women like yo-yoing to their whims.
If I hadn't met my wife, I'd be single. I think
it's they're always in control of these women's lives because like they're just like that macho. Like they just have that much like animal magnetism, and like if a woman isn't on the string the way that they would like, it makes them upset because like they're like that's not how it's supposed to go. Like in their mind's eye, like it's
right.
Like this is not going according to like the way I planned it, and like so they get upset. And so it's like, yeah, if a woman is just like, hey, the affair was like whatever, but I'm done with this, I'm moving on, and it's like that's not what he wants, then he's gonna get upset about it.
You see this a lot in fiction, but Elijah's a real thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like
unless they're a bona fide psychopath.
Yeah, I call it Don Draper syndrome because there's like a bunch of like young guys who like they'll watch Mad Men and they'll see Don like get all these beautiful women and they don't understand the concept that like this is like you're not supposed to think this is cool. Like this is very obviously bad for Don Draper.
Saying Mayan.
Yeah, but it's just like but that's cool. I want that. And it's like, well, you're then that means your priorities are all messed up.
Right. It's the same reason people like oh God, I don't remember his name.
Jordan Belfort, or like you mentioned Wolf of Wall Street. Like guys will watch it, and be like, "That's so cool, dude!" And it's like, "Did you watch the end?"
I actually kind of ended a friendship over that movie, to be honest, because like I'm a 37-year-old dude. My friend is like in his late 30s, and he's like, "This is so cool, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Dude, this is fucked up. I don't like any of what's happening here."
No,
like I want to. Because he's like, "Oh, we got to watch this movie. It's awesome." And I was trying to watch The Raid Redemption as well. I wanted to watch.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to watch Raid Redemption with him. I was like, check out this Indonesian kung fu. They just plow each other through concrete tables.
Yeah.
And he wanted to watch this thing. And I was like, this is the most degenerate garbage I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I don't know if I could. And the fact that he loved it so much, I was like, I don't think we can be friends, actually. This is like your media consumption has actually revealed quite a bit about you.
No, I do like that movie, but it's like the movie is like in standard like Martin Scorsese fashion. It's a morality play, and by the end of it, you're supposed to be like, "Wow, this guy is not a good guy." And it's like you're like it's like the same thing with like Goodfellas. I'm sure there were guys who like reacted the same way in the '90s watching Goodfellas. Like these guys are so cool, like this is so awesome. It's like, did you not see the ending?
Money, power, and women is not what makes a guy happy. To be honest,
no.
Peace is what makes guys happy.
I think that's true. Yeah.
The
peace, purpose, like, stuff like that.
Yeah, like you have a purpose, and once you've like kind of been satisfied with you fulfilling that purpose, you kind of sit and repose, and you pass on your info. Dirty Engineer says, I remember a clip of Schaffer and Gavin McInnes. Schaffer tells him he was in El Salvador. Gavin just asked him why he was there, and Schaffer has a micro meltdown. I remember that.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, you guys were talking about that a few months ago, where it's like, why do you have all these like passports to these other countries that we're like not having a good relationship with? Like, why are you cashing these checks?
I am, and I know that there's been some friction between me and one of the viewers, Howling Mutant. Wait, no, it's not Howling. Oh no, Howling Mutant is the guy I follow on Twitter. I'm sorry, Howling Doodly. My neurons got crossed there. I am very much like inquisitorially pro-American, and if anyone starts showing any affinity to any other country in a way that seems perverted, when I say perverted, I mean that in the actual sense of the word. Is like there is a perversion of motivation here. There's something is not quite pure, right?
No, I'm the same way. I get very highly suspect when I see certain things. Like people were talking to me about like Tucker Carlson like a few months ago, and it's like, I'm sorry, but like this dude is like he's taking money, like he's taking money from the Qataris. He's like looking to move to Qatar. I'm like, this guy's compromised. Like everything.
I was really happy when Hadley Doodley is like finally came out against it, because Hadley was guys like Hadley will he's speaking from a place of self-preservation of the ethnos, which is great. Like you should do that. But the problem is like fear makes you a fool sometimes for a little while. Everybody gets made a fool by fear for a little while, because it's like, oh, I'm going to put my faith in Tucker for a bit. I was like, I don't know about this Tucker guy.
Well, like having talked to Print, he never really had any faith in Tucker. The thing with the thing with Howdy is he has a very common sense of, you know, American right and like American, like that which will further the American good. And one of the big components of that is messaging and like sloganeering. And he's right, like that, like you do need to get the message out there,
right? Yeah, because the whole like no division on the right thing was
it wasn't even so much that. It's just like if what the in his opinion, and I could be getting this wrong, and he can correct me later, but it's like if the message is getting out there, that's more like the delivery is more important than the vector. And I think he's been softening his stance on that a little bit, because he realized that some of these people are just doing that to like take advantage of people. And that was always my stance, is it's just like a guy can tell you what you want to hear, but if he's not prepared to live by those principles, it's obvious that he's lying to you, and he's going to try to extract something from you later on.
And the thing is, like, he's learning what I learned just a few years earlier, right? Because when you start listening to someone's message, you make that person powerful. And when you make that person powerful, now the person is the message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you really have to just like look through and find out who's actually trustworthy.
And I went through that a few years ago myself. I remember like half of the people I got my like political information from, 10 years ago when I was in college. It's like all of them have fallen so far off the pedestal. I don't know. Like, for example, like
you give me one, I'll give you one, and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay, so here's one. So when I was in college, I really liked Milo Yiannopoulos, because 2016 Milo was very entertaining to watch, because he was just this like pithy gay man who would just give these like venomous like dressing down of people, and he's who you would like, he's who like the new right would like sick on like the women, because he's a gay man, so he doesn't care about like hurting a woman's feelings. And like he'll just like say like he's just gonna be a flaming queen and just like say whatever he wants to them. And it was entertaining. It was funny. And then like he tried to do that little like card turn into being like an investigative journalist, and that's kind of like where I was like getting iffy. I'm like, this isn't really what I watch you for. And then like it just kept getting weirder with him, and weirder and weirder, and it's to the point where it's like, yeah, I don't think you were ever really a good fit for like what we're trying to do here. Like I don't dislike, another one's like, I don't dislike Gavin McInnes, but like Gavin kind of like he got like really wishy-washy on like a lot of the stuff he would talk about. And so I was like, I'm good, Gavin. Like I'm just gonna go find someone else to go listen to.
Well, yeah, this is the thing was what I want to do on this show is that nothing is actually off limits. I really couldn't care less. And there's a certain Christian detachment that we're all like on this fallen world and our real home is in heaven, of like we really don't give a shit. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons why America is so strong, is because America doesn't mind shitting on America in front of everybody. Like, we don't care what our messaging is. Like, Americans are the first ones to criticize America. We're pretty all right about that, which means that we have good quality control.
We get to do it. You don't get to criticize us. We get to criticize ourselves.
Right, exactly. Well, and the thing is, like, we will say, like, oh, yeah, those English dudes have a bit of a point. Or we just choose not to fix this problem. The school shooting issue is such an interesting look into the American revealed preference, is that we don't really seem to mind it that much, because we don't really do anything about it. It's just it's the price of mental health issues and having lots of guns. And
we try to like I think we do the most like modest amount that is required of the issue. It's like if it becomes a risk, you have like a officer on standby, sometimes two. And it's like they pay attention, and it's like when I was in high school, like that was kind of like starting to ramp up in the news cycle. That's before like the left-wing establishment realized they could weaponize it. But it's just like you did see it like ramping up. And like when that did happen, like we had like two guys from like the sheriff's department, like when they were like on like off rotations of like active like patrol, they would just be at the school, And it's like if they saw someone who looks like they didn't need to be there, they'd like shoo them off. If they saw
which
like,
is like a return to common sense, to be honest. Like, there should just always been officers at schools. In my opinion, exactly. I don't think it's like a part of the degeneration, but we don't really. Those who do use school shootings as a way of restricting guns sort of tell on themselves. Americans don't have a lot of stomach for that, especially after the riots of 2020. The gun issue is settled after the riots of 2020. So many people who are first-time gun owners came out then, and it's just over. Even in California and blue states, it's like everyone's kind of realizing that no one's there to protect you.
Oh, sure, but it's actually really funny because you see there's a subreddit called r/liberal gun owners.
Oh, yeah,
that's like the funniest thing to look at from like the outside, because it's just like it's all these lesbians like, give me advice. I need to buy a gun. I need to buy a gun immediately. Like, give me good advice.
Oh shit!
And
really?
It's like a month later, it's like, please take this weapon of death away from me. I'm so scared of it. I could kill myself at any second. That
was a weird question that was asked on Twitter to a bunch of communists of like, why don't you own a gun? Because you're told to own a gun by Karl Marx, and they started saying like why they don't own guns, and like one of the main reasons was they're all depressed.
Myself and
I was like,
they'd all kill themselves.
That would actually be a pretty good modern metric of if you should be able to vote, is like, can you be responsible with a gun? Because if you're not responsible with a gun, you shouldn't be responsible to vote. It's a very small like if you could not blow your brains out or kill someone you love or not get the gun stolen, there should just be a golden gun given to you. It's like a Trump gun. Just has like
gun.
It just like you have to bring the gun to when you vote to make sure it's like, is it clean? Is it working? Did you get some practice sheets? Did you fill out your thing? Did you go? Did you keep it well?
Like what you're describing is we just need to do what I think it's Sweden does that, where it's like they have like the civilian like readiness program or whatever, where like when they're in like school age, like everyone there learns how to shoot.
Yeah,
and like because it was like I'm pretty sure it was Sweden, because
I think it's Switzerland or Norway.
It might be Switzerland.
No, you're right, because it's like the ones that were like invaded by the Soviets. So, but yeah, like after that, like they had like the civilian like readiness program.
That'd be Norway then.
So it's like they're all like taught from like young age like how to safely handle rifles, how to shoot, how to like do all that, because it's like the whole concept is like, well, our standing army isn't that great, so like every citizen needs to be like ready to mobilize just in case.
Well, it's funny, the American psyche is so easy, it's so robust under scrutiny that even stuff that tries to lampoon the American psyche of gun ownership and self-defense and self-accountability, was it Far Cry 5? I forget which Far Cry it was, that was like taking
place
set
in Montana. Yeah, that's 5.
Yeah, it's like Keep Your Rifle by Your Side is unironically a good song. It's awesome. Yes,
have you ever seen that movie called Hell or High Water about the brothers?
Oh yeah.
There's like a part where they try to. It's about these brothers who like rob banks in like rural Texas, and there's like a part where they go. I think they're in Odessa, Texas. It might have been Midland, but I can't remember. They rob it, and like this old cowboy who's like turning in his like paycheck to his account gets robbed, and he gets pissed off, and so he just pulls out his gun and starts like opening fire on the brothers, and then they run out of the bank, and they see that like every citizen in the town also has their guns, and so like the citizens are just shooting at the bank robbers as they run away.
Well, it's a difference between personal accountability. So back to the school shooting thing, is like most Americans are like, yeah, the school needs to do something about that. The parents need to do something. The students need to do something. The teachers need to do something. It's not like we need an overarching government institution to regulate this. Like, save me, daddy government. It's more like those people in the council of the school system need to go save themselves.
Well, it's also like you definitely don't need the government, because all they're going to do is just like take tallies and make reports and like not actually do anything about it. It's like,
we know that as Americans.
People, the thing is, like, people always be like, oh yeah, there's so many school shootings. Like half of those, like it's over half. It's like at this point it's like 2/3, because they keep loosening the definition of what is a school shooting to make it look worse. And like, to be honest, like when I was in high school, I was listed as like a victim of a school shooting, and what really happened was a guy in my school, like he was in the parking lot in his truck and he killed himself. He shot himself.
Oh, okay.
And they listed like the whole thing as a school shooting, even though he never intended to hurt anybody else. He was just gonna kill himself.
So yeah, also if you take suicides out of shooting deaths, it goes way down. It's like, well, it's basically just the easy out button for people who are depressed. I believe in good mental health. I don't believe it has to be institutional. I think the government does make mental health worse typically.
Sure.
I saw this crazy statistic, which I don't believe yet, is that like 60% of people who commit suicide are vitamin D deficient. Well, just like there's definitely connections between mental health and nutrition. I'm very aware of that, and it's like
that would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to see, because I wonder how much of that accounts for the suicide rate in Japan. Because Japan is like, it's like ridiculous how many suicides they have, but it's also like, if that was actually true and you made a Venn diagram of like people who are like, deficient in vitamins and people who like are like qualify as malnourished, then like it's an overlap. It's not because like the Japanese don't eat enough, it's just because like their diets are not rich, like they're not balanced very well. Like people, people in Japan they're vitamin deficient a lot. That's why like supplements and like supplement drinks are so popular, is because like their diet doesn't, like most people's diet doesn't do enough to like sustain them like fully.
I see all this shit about how good the school lunches and stuff are in Japan, and
it's the same as like any other prepared lunch. It's like rice and fish and like some kind of vegetable, and like that's it. And that sounds good on paper, but it's like, you can't get like all of your like full nutritional value from like those things on their own in a vacuum.
By the way, public service announcement: if you guys ever want to do your own nutritional analysis, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Was it not Chronometer? Gosh, it was some weird chrono something. I'll find it and put it in the chat later. But the USDA used to have a site called MyPlate, and they discontinued it. MyPlate would just let you put together what you're eating that day, and it would tell you what you're deficient in, like what you're missing, and it was great. But there's other stuff that now does that. So daily nutrition calculator.
I can't say I'm much better, because I mean, like my diet is like, I don't keep it like super strict, but it's like, okay, I've got like a pure meat, I've got like vegetable, I've got something with fiber in it, but then like I also take like a multivitamin in the morning, but like when I'm getting ready for work. So
I take it looks like Kennedy brought MyPlate back. Holy shit.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
And it's better already, because it's asking me about my sex, age, and height and weight and stuff. Because there's also stuff. Say what? Was that?
As opposed to not.
It would just give you the average bullshit.
Yeah.
Like 2,100 calories a day.
What are you talking about? Those things don't matter. All human beings are just completely interchangeable economic units.
Correct. I probably have 30 to. Yeah. Okay. All right. So never mind. MyPlate.gov is up. Go to MyPlate, and you'll be able to take foods and put them into categories and stuff. I did that on my other personality channel, Farm Engineer. I actually went through a nutritional analysis, because being an engineer and being like kind of a quasi prepper, it's like you have to you can't like say your food's self-sufficient unless you've done a nutritional analysis. And I found that none of these preppers have done any nutritional analysis. I was like, you're just going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're
absolutely not, because like half of those prepper meals are just rebranded MREs.
Yeah.
And MREs are, oh my God, like the amount of sodium in those things is ridiculous. And it's just like, you're just like over salting yourself eating those things.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's the worst.
So weird. Anyways, we got off on a long tangent here, but the main point here is that who's taking control of your welfare? Is it the state, or is it you as an individual? Going back to Elijah a little bit, is like this guy is not taking care of things. So if you're putting the onus of preparation and quality on the individuals have to have some level of discernment. And this is where we finally, at the hour mark, get into this Cath-Trad stuff. I have a theory. I want to see what you guys think about it.
Okay.
Why? And we talked with Luna about it. Luna was great, by the way, in this episode that we did a while ago about like why there's this weird Catholic stuff going on.
That was the video that got me into you guys.
Yeah, like the idea though is like Catholicism provides a lot of bona fides and a identity that people can latch onto and get validation, because not only are you a Christian, you're a Catholic, and then you can get yourself a picture taken with the bishop or in front of this cathedral, and you could do the things.
Sure.
You could say the number of years, you could say like the things that you've done or what you've given to charity. All these things, by the way, you're not supposed to do. and you get these bona fide, and that's what these people do, is that what they're doing is they're targeting legitimacy, right? They're trying to legitimacy farm off of Catholic, which we cannot do with Protestants. Full disclosure, I didn't know what a Catholic was 10 years ago, and I'm like, I really should have just considered them another denomination, but like the Protestants have no legitimacy whatsoever, and that's actually one of the strengths, is that like they can just say stuff, and it's like, okay, are you one of the crazy ones in the hinterlands? Are you a mega church that's like really awful, or are you like some community church in the middle of nowhere? Either way, it's like you got enough good press, bad press.
It's not necessarily Catholicism in and of itself that attracts these people. The thing that came first was this brewing sentiment of everything is so fake and commercialized and new agey, and like nobody's actually conserving anything anymore, and so we need to return to traditional values. And so it's like that was the first step, and then like once that grift like started like kind of like getting more difficult to maintain, it's like, well, what's more trad than what we have now, like the new atheism and all the other like weird religions that are kind of like, well, Christianity is, but some of the Christianity is weird and it does things I don't like, so what's the ones that haven't changed yet? And it's like, well, it's usually three. It's high Lutheran, Catholicism, and strict like Eastern Orthodox. Like those are the three that have changed the least. And so that's like there's the trad calves, there's like the Luther bros, and then there's the ortho bros. Like those are the dissident arm of like most of what you see on like the trad right, is like they're usually one of those three things. But the thing is, like a lot of those guys aren't actually what they're saying they are, because if you press them on like what they think or like what they believe, like they don't actually follow the tenets that any of those institutions actually like dictate that you should be following. And it's pretty easy to say. It's like I always say, a lot of people want to talk the talk, but none of them want to actually show that they're walking the walk.
Well, and you're called in Christianity, you're called by Christ in the same scripture that oh gosh, no, it wasn't Christ. I'm sorry, it was a letter from Paul, that you're supposed to submit to, your wife is supposed to submit to the husband, which they love to cite that. They don't cite the next one, which is like the husband is supposed to submit to the church. You are the bride of Christ. So it's like I usually ask these guys of like, hey, what if they're Catholic? I'm like, so what is if they say they're Catholic? I'd be like, what would your priest think about what you're saying right now? I think we had a troll. I think we had a troll come onto the chat one time who was just like,
oh yeah, I remember that, because I was listening to you guys in my car, and he was just like, he said something, and you were like, yeah, whatever, piss off, buddy, because he just like he didn't even try to stay and fight you. He just tried to just like throw some shade and then just like leave.
Many such cases. One of the first live streams I ever did, it was about Red Pill. This is about a year and a half, no, maybe 2 years ago. Very early on in the channel. And I was basically saying Red Pill is a sad cult of sad men who are basically just male feminists.
Yeah, but yeah, and
like this guy got really mad about it.
Like, and I'm not gonna isolate this just to Catholicism. It's like Christianity as a whole. Christianity is a very complicated lifestyle to live by, because it asks a lot of you. Sometimes it asks things of you that like seem contradictory. They're not, but like sometimes it can feel that way, because you're called to do a bunch of different kinds of things in different situations. And so for like a lot of these trad guys, they just try to boil it down to like the surface level stuff, so they can pretend like they're trad and they're cool. And like, but if you actually look at how they behave and what they do, they're not trad at all, and they're not Catholic at all, because they're not actually abiding by the dictates.
They're not submitting to the church. They're not submitting to the authority.
I mean, right? I think the theater kid phenomenon is actually closer to explanatory power than the Catholic thing. I think why you see a lot of these theater kids on the right glom onto the Catholic thing is it does have a lot more associated pageantry and visual signs of prestige or social superiority. I'm going to assert something which I haven't fully worked out, but I am trying on.
Sure. By all means, this is
that humanity is not a flat category. It is closer to a spectrum. Some people are more human than others, and some less. This is there are I think
there God would agree with you.
There are certain cognitive and behavioral things which go along with this.
Well, I think I've heard
inhibitory. Your ability to inhibit your desires and control them is a plus or minus on this. Likewise, I think people who follow, like who use as their main tool for guiding the world, like guiding them in the world, and discerning truth, who use a prestige-based epistemology, I think I am comfortable considering less human.
Yes, the appearance
and when you talk about like so there's a lot of things that go on here. One, like the theater kid dimension, very much like or that sort of way of engaging with the world is very, very, very appealing to people with prestige-based epistemologies. They don't really have a sense of truth. The attention thing is the most important. Demonstrating social clout, etc. They don't do things because they're true. They do them because it will make them popular.
And that to me makes it like a skinwalker. It's like it is subhuman. It's like you live only in the opinions of others. Because if I cease to give you stimulus, you cease to be a person, and you like freak the fuck out.
Well,
right, and you cease to have a meaningful relationship with reality anymore.
I was gonna say, I've heard something similar to that, like line of logical reasoning. I just can't remember who the author was that wrote it, but they wrote that famous like quote of "He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man."
Sure.
I think there is like a certain like level of that too. It's like past a certain point, like a lot of these people who try to do this, they let themselves get lost in their debauchery because they think that like it makes their problems and their inadequacies go away.
Oh, so another thing is like, they are taking on the affect of humanity, but they are not embodying humanity per se, right? They're not by themselves. They're not. That's an interesting thought of like this human spectrum, is that you have these people who are genuinely grounded. Okay, so here's the thing from my life. I've been able to elicit trust from people that I should not be able to elicit trust from. One of them was like the grandson of an Iranian general who was like had fled Iran during the revolution. So maybe Arya will be back in charge. He's the grandson. And he says, like, Alex, you're the only person I trust. I was like, why would you say that? I'm just your college roommate. But it's like, some people are just real as hell. And it's like, this is the thing. This is why I want this channel. Is like, I heard Bo from Lotus Eaters say, like, I've never really had my mind changed before. And I was like, what? Are you crazy? My mind changed like every other day. It's like, why would you talk to anybody unless you're ready to have your mind changed, right? Like Benign could say, like Luna pretty much de-radicalized me against the Catholics. I desperately dislike the e-Caths very much.
Sure, I hate them just as much. I would argue I probably, hate's a strong word, but I probably dislike them more than you do, because like one thing that every Christian is called to do this, but specifically like all Catholics of like the laity are called to evangelize by word and by deed. And it's like what these people are doing is it gives us
taking credit for your good work,
and it's making people think that we're something that we're not. And it makes actual like real efforts to evangelize to people harder, because they're going to think like, oh, you're a Catholic. That's that weird hateful thing that Fuentes guy like believes.
Yes, we have a. So yes, I agree with Cosmo what you said here. The whole Catholic thing to me is that they're glomming onto it because it gives them the legitimacy, and you've added the pageantry necessary to express them to. It's like they're trying to piece together humanity for themselves to become a human. It's like a skinwalker thing, and what they do is they
but they think humanity is just mogging other people.
Yeah, it's and mogging really is about authority, isn't it? And this is the thing I hate, is like, as a Christian, you have no authority. Honestly, if you go around and you like grab some Bible verses and you slap them in people's faces, I'm like, that's sign number one that you're full of shit. It's like, you don't actually have any, like, you can appeal. And whenever I find a scripture that like, that contradicts what somebody says, I'm like, hey, I'm begging you to read this over again. It's not like, oh, I have the authority of Christ. It's like,
it's like that thing you and I were talking about on Twitter last night, where it's you were talking about the whole concept of like, what did Jesus mean by like, love thy neighbor? And it's like that one guy said blasphemy. It's like, this isn't blasphemy, you idiot. Like, he's not blaspheming. He just has a different opinion than you.
Yeah. Yeah, so exactly. Well, this is what men are speaking about. By the way, you're supposed to disagree. Like, it's what Job did wasn't blasphemy. He was straight up like, I need to talk to the manager. This is bullshit. Why'd you do this to me?
Like, it's the whole pageantry thing. It's like you talked about, like, oh, it's about mogging other people, because like they will do that. It's like, look how beautiful our church is compared to this other denomination's church. Like, you're wrong for doing that. Like, you're wrong for doing that, because like, yes, our cathedrals are beautiful, but you have to remember, the first thing you have to remember about those cathedrals is that glory is not to us, that beauty is not to us, that glory is to God, and that beauty is God's. We make them beautiful because we're trying to honor God. It's not because we want to look better or be better than other people. It's because we're trying to commit our earthly talents and our earthly works to do something that will show our belief and show reverence to the highest power there is. It's like, we're not doing this so we can look cool. We're doing this because we want to honor God.
This is the thing I'm going to say. All right. By the way, I don't dislike any denomination of any denomination of Christians. What de-radicalized me about Christians was there were a bunch of Japanese Christians in like the 15th century, and they believed that Jesus came back to Earth as a garlic farmer. I was like, well, that's kind of retarded and silly.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, have you ever seen that picture from a Japanese cathedral where there's a Japanese woman going to mass, and she's got a kimono on, but like the whatever the sash is called, like the sash has like it's like a version of like the Virgin Mary, like the Guadalupe, but it's in like Japanese art style, and so it's like Japanese like art style Mary on like the back of her time. Like, that's so cool that they do stuff like that.
Well, yeah, everyone takes it in their own form, right? And that includes like folk tales,
devotional art of different regions. Yeah.
And that's like includes folk tales. So it's like, yeah, everyone comes up with their own fan fiction, headcanon, or whatever. That's your right to do. You might be wrong, you might be right, you're probably wrong. I'm not going to judge you, because all those Japanese also died for their religion. I was like, well, there's no greater expression of faith than to die for your faith.
The early Jesuit converts, like that's such a powerful story to a lot of people in the Catholic Church, because it's like and all of those people are martyrs, by the way, now. Like, they were named martyrs like in like the 1800s, I think.
Yeah. So I don't mind any denomination of Christians as long as they're showing some skin in the game.
Yeah, like deference to the higher power.
Yeah, exactly. Deference, which is the opposite of what these skinwalkers would do, right? Like the pageantry guys will do. They ride high on it. And I am very suspicious of anyone who puts their face and name to some beautiful music or something like that. There's like one I really like, a guy on YouTube, that's Josh Collier or something like that. And he's pretty cool. He seems like he's on the spectrum a little bit. He's on a different spectrum. He's on the humanities spectrum, but he's also on the spectrum. But he's like a savant when it comes to music, and he's able to like lead a worship really, really well, or what sounds like a worship. He's just able to guide the choirs. And I think like that would be like the first choirs that ever existed, right? Like the first priests that came to Britannia or Gaul, trying to raise people's voices in a unified beauty. And I was like, but the theater kids are very disunified. They want to be iconoclastic. They want to be against the grain. They don't want to join. They want to either lead or destroy.
So prestige-based epistemologies and like, the sort of relentlessly socially engaged like theater kid archetype, it is kind of oppositional to a conservative temperament. So, I mean, it behooves you to be somewhat suspicious of conservative influencers just in general, because it actually appeals, like the influencer thing appeals heavily to a personality type that actually has inclinations and may have like deeply held personal dispositions or like dispositive attitudes that go against your philosophy, We often call these people hypocrites in many circumstances, but you just have to accept they never really believed these things in the first place. They were never actually conservative. So here's the thing: it's highly conformist and highly living in the opinions of others. But a sort of radical epistemological perspective of conformism does not. Dirty Engineer says, with a love of aesthetics that go too far. Yeah, that's because it's look at me.
That's all it is.
No beauty has inherent worth outside of glorifying the self.
And aesthetics does convey truth, which makes them very compelling.
But
right.
So you have to remember that specifically for when it comes to religious iconography, the aesthetics come from God. You should be in love. You should be loving God. You shouldn't be loving the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess what I'm describing here is a narcissist.
Oh, very much so.
But this is still something that's important to understand. It the sort of spiritual action of it. A radically conformist perspective can produce aberrant results, i.e., essentially the conformity market within the dominant prestigious in-group can get super saturated. There's just too many people in it. So your market niche becomes, going against it and, essentially conforming to the opposite rival camp. These people are never actually allies. They're just liabilities, and they can be hard to tell apart because their entire lives is just saying, what their particular attention market is looking to hear.
I want to revisit.
They're not hypocrites. They're parasites. Their behavior is never hypocritical because they never actually believe any of this, insofar as it informs the action of their spirit or psychology.
Yeah. Two points. Okay. First off, I actually don't mind hypocrites as long as they believe.
I don't mind hypocrites terribly either. Yeah. And I think when people accuse right-wing influencers of being hypocritical, you're actually taking a convenient low-lying moral out, which prevents you from seeing what's actually going on, what's actually upsetting about these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So hypocrisy, by the way, is just a part of human nature, but I like the part where you mentioned the belief. They don't actually believe. Not only do they not believe in what we believe, they don't believe in anything, which means they are parasites. They're parasites of belief. So that was my first point, is hypocrisy is just an indicator sometimes of lack of belief. Sometimes hypocrisy is just I believe in a thing, but I faltered. I believe that you shouldn't drink to excess, but then I got really fucking drunk once. It's you're not a hypocrite. Well, you are a hypocrite, but you still believe. You're not happy about it.
To where I draw the line of hypocrite, it's not what you hold to yourself, because I mean, as individuals, we are, if you're religious, we're all imperfect, sinful people. It's as much as we try to do the right thing, eventually we will falter in some specific way against sin. And there's nothing we can. Sure. You can try to resist it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's it's just going to happen because we're unable to turn away from it under our own power. To me, where hypocrisy becomes a problem to where I can't abide in it is it's when you demand behavior and conformity of other people, but you're not prepared to do those things yourself. You just want other people to do them.
Sure. So, I mean. That's just demonic manipulation.
Well, I mean, it's also every military officer. They're going to send the grunts in to go do the dirty work. Yeah, it's because it is kind of it is evil, and it is also kind of just part of what humans are evil. It's also just kind of part of what you have to do. I'm okay with a man sending another man to his death, even though he's not willing to die himself if he's useful. It's okay, you're Starship Troopers, right? The very intelligent intel guy, right? The guy who does the intelligence. He sent a lot of people to their deaths. Is he willing to do it himself? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't explored in the movie, but it's you do kind of need that. How the hypocrisy sometimes is it good for the people or not? Is kind of where I draw the line of most of us are not willing to be Jesus, but we would like everyone to be more Christ-like. You know what I mean? It's that's just
sure, but for example, I say that, I definitely think that we should behave more in the way of Christ, and I do genuinely think that. It's just I know that for a lot of us that's difficult because I mean, like, in what metric do you mean? Like how do you mean so? It's like for me, I've talked about it before on Twitter where it's like whenever I have the free time during like holiday time when I'm like I don't have to be at work, I will take my time out and I will go volunteer at various like charity and community outreach things at my local parish. And for example, like this past Christmas, I went and worked at like the food pantry we do, and so like I just did that, and it was great. And I went like after it was done, I went home. But it's just like it's to me like it's getting out directly and serving the community because God tells us to do so because it is correct. Like I do that because that's what I want to do. And I'm not saying you have to do. Like if you don't have the time to go do that, I understand. But it's just like I could tell people that, but I'm not telling them to do something that I'm not prepared to go do myself.
Yeah, and this is the part where it comes back to the theater kids. They will embody everything that is good. They will try and take on the aspects of everything about your group that is good, use it like a skin suit, and then like Elijah Schaffer does. And we haven't even got to the stuff Elijah Schaffer's gone wrong. We're just like getting into his head a little bit, trying to and figuring out the like inner theater kid and how the royal Elijah Schaffer versus the actual person works, right? Like this theater kid who's going to grab and hold on to the stuff because he essentially used. Because once you have this prestige, once you have all of these trappings and all this aesthetics, you get your following, and then your following gives you authority. And then how do you use that authority? Well, he used it to say some very awful things about women, especially. What was it? Said there were a bunch of holes or something? I was like, well, I mean, that's awful. Well, first off, there's a little bit more to women than that. There's a little bit more to it than that. For God's sake, he basically is just like God. Well, by the way, women are God's gifts to men. Like if you don't like women, you're just basically just shitting all over God's gift to you. And also, he didn't give you a gift so you can just enjoy it like an amusement park. It's there to be your rescue.
Well, it's like specifically he created like woman because man was not meant to exist alone, and that's
we're incomplete. Man was meant to have fun, we're incomplete in God's eyes.
Yeah, it's like it's not because like men like deserve like something. It's just like men was not meant to exist in a solitary like existence on his own. He needed something to complement him and make him better and complete him.
I think especially if it doesn't matter if you're gay or not or whatever like that, or if you're just a single dude. Some people are just very like lone wolf. Like what's the actor who played Bane in The Dark Knight?
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I don't think Tom Hardy is gay. I think he's just a loner.
Oh, he's talked about it before. He's like he talks about like he's like I just have like problems like being on my own. It's not that I get like self-destructive or anything. It's just like I start liking it too much. He's just like I just get like addicted to being alone.
He's monk mode, total monk mode. Yeah, but it's like you still have to be somewhat pleasing to the opposite sex. In that is indicative of health. I think it was like Lotus Eaters that pointed out that the ideal female body type, according to men, for time immemorial, like digging up ancient statues from India or Rome or wherever, it's always the same body type, which also happens to be one of the most healthy body types for women, like in terms of proportionality. I was like, so men have an eye, like it's the straight eye for the straight eye for the healthy girl,
it's a somewhat trim waist with like a large like bust and like wide hips. Like it's because like that's what most like pretty much every culture has found like pleasing to the eye, and we still do. It's like like every guy can, if you're having bull talk, you can talk about like what kind of woman, like what female celebrity you think is attractive, and they all have kind of the same body type, which is that one.
Yeah, and the thing is, ladies have a certain archetype. Ladies are the ones that craft archetypes of men, even though they don't necessarily express it. The thing is, women speak through their preference, right? So their women's preference will condition men's minds. Like men will change their entire brain chemistry and structure to cater to women, which is why the incels are so like. This is why the incels are so dysfunctional. It's not like, oh, I'm an incel and also I'm like a business magnate. It's like, no, I'm an incel and I live in a basement and I don't know what do incels do? Make pipe bombs?
I mean, they're usually some kind of like remote work computer, like IT specialist or something is usually like what I find.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know incels in real life?
I was just gonna say goon constantly, but
yeah, that's
like ultra gooning. Just
r/goon cave. That's another horrific subreddit.
I would love to I would love to just make degenerate content as like a joke, because like I actually carve a real cave out of it. And then it's like, and I continue the cave. Like there's gonna be like this 9-month saga of my goon cave, and eventually it actually tunnels into someone else's place, and it just becomes this liminal horror. It's like on r/goon cave.
I think a guy did that like as an April Fool's joke, and he got like permabanned from r/goon caves because he just he went into it, or like he didn't do what you're talking. He just went into like a random like cavern, and he just drew like a stick figure with like big boobs. It's just like 2 big circles. He's just like he's like Grug wants show his goon cave. What goons think? It
would be funny if I went to random caves in Kentucky and just started putting body pillows in there. Like, no one's this is for your own good. Don't explore this cave. I'm just gonna put some body pillows in here to make it repulsive. It's like, nope, we're not wiggling into like the man-eater, today. This is a goon cave.
So here's one of the things with like gooners and incels. Like incels are also demonstrating like the same failure of libidinous control and like self-monitoring and self-mastery that like blatant sex addicts are. Like they simply have not reconciled themselves and like their sense of self, their personality to the sexual domain, and feel like constantly inadequate about it. It's like, yeah, you're just as like horn dog fucked as they are in your brain, because you simply don't have a controlled relationship to this at all.
You know what's a weird thing is
the expectation that it's supposed to be normal or available. Like, man, we did a lot better as a society when we promoted chastity. And by the way, there is hypocrisy when it comes to a societal value of chastity. It is the case in in Christian societies, and it always has been, that the median number of sexual partners before marriage is 1 or 2. And and that's like, there's an understanding that like, yes, this is deviating from the ideal. This is falling short of what you ought to be for yourself. And what you ought to be for God, that this is sin. But it is not
anxiety ridden too, because you're transgressing against your society. So it's anxiety ridden. Like, this is like forbidden love can feel good at the time, but you should feel horrendous about it the day before. And then anytime someone like brings it up, or like brings up something that they might be bringing it up, it's like terrifying until finally you get the one you're supposed to be with. And it's like, oh, finally. And now, because then you can finally enjoy it without horrendous anxiety, which still reserves like the peace and quietusness of mind to your marital partner.
So here's the thing is like, I kind of don't regard incels' perspective as like morally legitimate.
No, it's like the concept of, I was gonna say, it's like the concept of the way they approach like dealing with like women and like sexuality. It's like the physical version of being like a dry drunk, where it's because there are alcoholics who just like they just cut themselves off from alcohol, but like they don't address the undercurrent of like what made them that way. And so it's like they'll cultivate some kind of other self-destructive behavior, or they'll do something else, maybe not like a vice, but they'll do some kind of other behavior to like an excess to like compensate for the fact that they're not drinking, but they still haven't confronted what drove them to like alcoholism, like psychologically in the first place. It's the same kind of thing. They haven't mastered their sexual imbalance. They've just driven it down, and they've just repressed themselves.
In the repression, and you can see the repression too. It's like you could tell when someone's not at peace, because you're supposed to abstain, but then also be at peace with the abstinence, whether it's alcohol or sex or whatever it is.
Yeah,
eventually it just comes to
or like the obvious torment of gay dudes stuck in, you know, heterosexual marriages, and like you can tell they're just fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be like every other married man and be like, sex is just maybe or maybe not on the table. That's how it is. Like, can I live without it? Because the thing is, like, no wife is going to find anything more unattractive than a husband who just like has to have sex all the time.
Oh, sure.
It's like, no, it's gonna ebb and wane as the same way as the moon does, the same way as the sun does. Like,
it's like my old boss. Like last week, he was like, he was talking about like, yeah, it's me and the wife. It's our 40th anniversary. So we were like, oh, that's great, Brian. You guys gonna do something great? He's like, yep, taking her out to dinner. It's pretty much an obligation, though. I'm not getting her flowers or nothing. You know, it's like B.B. King once saying, the passion has gone out. It's just like, I don't believe that for a second.
I'm
like,
sorry.
No, I don't believe that for a second. He's just putting us on because he's like the biggest wife guy in the world. He likes to do like bull talk with the guys, but like he's the biggest wife guy in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's just joking around. It's like just hearing stuff like that. It's like it's funny because it's like the old like boomer talking about like, yep, the old like me and Barbara, the old spark's gone.
Well, you know, hopefully he is putting on a face. It sounds like he
is. I've seen him like interact with his wife. It's a very romantic marriage that he's just messing around.
So these guys who like need sex, like this Elijah Schaffer fella seems to need it, and it's not for the purpose. So I was gonna give a personal anecdote.
Yeah.
For me is that like every husband has to come to grips with his libido a little bit, and for me, I actually found out it's just purely I just want validation. I just like compliments, and I like to know that people like me. That's all it was. It turns out it had nothing to do with anything. Like for me, what I want from anybody who's other than my wife is like it's nice to just check in and just know that I'm still up to snuff in the general population.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like an evolutionary. Yeah,
that's the you encounter this all the time with like married people who are still flirts, and it's either like let's check in on how I'm doing, or for some people it's just love of the game.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes it's also just like I want to make someone feel. I think the unintentional flirting I once did was I noticed this bartender lady was kind of working the entire thing herself, including the pizza oven, and I just sort of said to her, was like, "Dang, you're really holding this thing down." It's like you're a one woman show. And she just like I started noticing she was like giving me extra alcohol, like giving me extra, getting my water freshened for me without me asking. I was like, I didn't mean to flirt. I was just just giving you a compliment. But it was like she really liked it. And I was like, this is what a human relationship is supposed to be. It's like I appreciate something about you, and then you feel like so good about it that you want to do stuff for me. And it's not necessary, but it's nice to have like a certain level of unspoken obligation, I guess. Is like, oh man, I like to, I guess what I'm saying is like, when you know that you're doing well, it's when people enjoy serving you, right? That's actually a really difficult position to get in. It's like people, like you carry yourself in a way that is kempt enough, right? Which is weird because I don't even comb my hair. This is uncombed hair. The way you carry yourself is magnanimous enough that you feel like you're an important person. They come in here as like, oh, this person who cares about themselves, they also seem to think that I'm pretty great and they like my service. Most of the time I'm just complimenting their ability to make a good cup of coffee or something like that. If you want to make people feel good, find something that's hidden that they do well that no one would notice, but you notice.
Sure.
And
there's there is an aspect to it, and like some people would disagree with me when I say this, but it's like sex has to have an emotionality to it. You can't have good sex if there's no emotion.
You're not going to the glory milking whatever.
Well, it's just like like when it comes to like that aspect of my life, it's always, well, for the most part, until a few years ago, it was always like something that was reserved for, you know, a woman that I felt like I was genuinely in love with and I could envision a future with. And it's just it was something that was like that. And it's just like my last actual real long-term relationship, it went up like the Hindenburg towards the end. And it was such a shit show. And it's just like, after a certain point, it's just like, I would find these women giving me attention and I would go with that because I was trying to cut something of myself off so that I wouldn't like let myself like allow myself to be hurt again that way. But it's just like after a few years, I just kind of realized like my reasoning and all these things, it's all mixed up, because it wasn't the physical aspect of these relationships that hurt me. It was the emotional part, and I was confusing by like making it strictly physical. I was mistaking things that I was kind of like protecting myself, but it was the other way around. I was just hurting myself more, but I was doing it to myself.
You know, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think I found the two sides of this, right? Because we have the ultra oppressed and the incels, and they're both like flip sides of the same coin. And I realize there's people who will multiply all of their challenges by 0, right? They will just multiply by 0, and it's like, I don't care, right? And it's like, I don't have to try anymore because I don't have to care. However, there's also the other side where it's like they multiply all of their challenges by infinity and say that's insurmountable. I'll never get a girl. I'll never own a home. I'll never have a good job. I'll never, it's like, might as well just, and it's the same result though, is that it reduces them to 0. So they have no amount of action matters.
But it's just like it's that idea. It's just like the incel guys. It's like, even if like, and we've previously established, like, even if they were getting sex on the regular, like, it wouldn't fix them, because that's like the whole problem with them is there's something emotionally, or there's something like with their masculinity, or there's something that's ailing them, and they think that behaving in this way will fix it, but it's not. It's just making it worse.
Well, what they're trying to do is like what Elijah Schaffer was doing on that Joel Webben show, like where he was denigrating women to such a high degree, just calling them holes. He was multiplying those women by 0, saying those women have no meaning whatsoever. Versus the incel, which multiplies the women by infinity and says, I'll never get one. It's insurmountable.
And even when I was going through like my hard times, and I was just kind of like having these meaningless flings with these women, like these one night stands, like I never behaved that way. It was always something that I felt bad about after.
Yeah, you were like Adam Sandler's character from The Wedding Singer.
A little bit, yeah. It's just kind of like I would go out like the following morning, and it's just like, I'm just like, what am I even doing with myself? Like, I don't know why I'm making a fool of myself. I'm lowering myself. I'm turning my back on like what God like has commanded me to do in these regards. And it's just like, it was almost like, I don't want to say it was a self-destructive cycle, because that sounds like I'm trying to like have self-pity, but it's just like, that's basically what I was doing. Is I was so worried about getting my heart broken again that I was just like, I'm just gonna close myself off, and like, this is just the man I'm gonna be, thinking like if I lived that way, I wouldn't allow like a woman to like hurt me again.
The funny thing about the Christian religion, it's got a lot of genius moments in it, but one of them is that the Christian religion does multiply everything by 0. Says like this world doesn't really matter, but it also says like you got to try, you got to do it, you got to make it work. Like you have to,
like that's like I've left all that behind.
Failure.
Yeah, like I've left all that behind, and so like I got off of it, but it's like at the same time, like I'm not saying that like it was some kind of like triumph. It's just I just remembered myself. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And
whereas guys
yeah.
Whereas guys like Elijah, like he's this weird other animal that you see very rarely. Is that he does try to multiply by 0, but I feel like that's a cope. I think for him, he is a voracious consumer, right? He must consume affect. He must consume approval. He must consume attention. He must consume legitimacy. Like he's running through this stuff like a parasite. And that's the Cath-Trad question, which I should probably rename this thing to the E-Catholic, but like it's the same. I don't ever like the word trad. I never like the word trad because it's like it's a new amalgamation of what should be something that's revered and old. Like say the whole word traditional. Like saying trad is like making it trad is a trend. Traditional is a lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the trad stuff, the trad Catholic stuff is purely lives in the realm of aesthetics. And it is so easily skin suited. And it just invites parasites.
Sure. And it was actually my I was doing the OCIA, which is like that's like the class for people who want to convert to Catholicism. I volunteer as a sponsor for people at that from time to time. And the father actually had a very good little like pseudo homily for the class this week because he's aware of this situation. He knows what online tradcasts are, and he very much does not like it.
Oh, really? That'd be really interesting to get his opinion on this.
He was very upset because he was getting very emotional talking about it. It's just like the way people conduct themselves and behave. It's like when you are a member of the laity, you are meant to evangelize by word and by deed. And if your words are lies and your deeds are maligned, then what you're doing it's not just wrong. It is you are committing sin. And it's just like you're opening the church up by extension of yourself to its enemies, to like people who you're giving ammunition to, people who love to bear calumny against the church by behaving in this way, and you should not be doing it. And I was like, yeah, this is good stuff. Like this is what people need to hear. This is being a Catholic isn't some kind of magical bulletproof vest that makes you better or stronger than other people because you're in it. It's a very demanding lifestyle. And there have been times where I get upset because I have personal beliefs and convictions that I hold, and I'm like, well, I have now found myself at odds with my faith, and I need to decide which is more important to me, my personal thoughts of what's right or what is actually right according to the faith. And I need to decide on this. I need to think about it. And so it's one of those things. Like if you think that if you think going to mass and like saying the prayers and going to adoration and talking about the saints, and like if you think all of that is like it somehow makes you better, or you think it gives you legitimacy just because you're saying it out loud, you're doing something that's wrong, and you need to acknowledge that.
Yeah. The Christians who hold themselves up higher than the normal person.
Yeah, holier than thou is that's an insult for a reason.
Yeah, and you got that a lot. You get that a lot that's pretty much my number one criteria for finding a fake Christian, is if they do that, if they start speaking on a position of authority. And Elijah really abused the authority that he had gathered with his own following. I don't know if he still has a following or not. I mean, I don't know what's real or bots, because Rift TV, he had this show Rift TV.
He can probably fairly inorganic. He can be the sinking ship that flees the rats to the Groiper audience, because it seems like Nicholas Fuentes already likes him, so he's probably going to go there because he can talk about women are holes, and what's his name, Andrew Tate will clap, and then he'll be like, I'm a proud Tradcath, and then Nick Fuentes will clap, and so he's probably just going to go join that cadre of losers.
So I think there's a couple of things going on, but just on a Getty maintain a following, he's fallen into the category of people for me where I followed him ages ago because of the Riot Squad stuff, and now I'm like, there's some people like Jordan Peterson where I just unfollowed because it's man, this is just hard to watch. This is a disaster, and not in a fun way. And Elijah Schaffer, I'm like, I'm staying because this is a disaster in the most fun way.
Yeah, you're a fun disaster now. You're a lol cow. That's lol cows.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Peterson's whole thing is he used to be really smart and kind of insightful, and then you kind of realized he was almost pretty much a one-trick pony about his methodology, and it just becomes to the point where it's now he's remembered as that guy who he'll try to give you a lecture on Nietzsche, and then he'll start crying halfway through.
Yeah, the crying thing's not so great. He gets too emotional. I think to be a proper man, there's a certain amount of emotional distance you put between yourself and this world.
That's got to be something that happened to him because of his health or something, because he didn't used to do he would get emotional before. I think he's had brain damage. I don't think it's brain damage. I think there's he's got some kind of emotional thing.
Look at the benzos, man. He had the benzos.
Yeah, it might be drugs. I don't know.
Russian hospital, man. I think his brain's. I'd pay a nickel to see that CT, see that MRI. Tell you what. It's I think his brain's fucked up.
How many times? Hasn't he been in a medically induced coma 3 times in the last 2 years or something like that?
Yeah, he's a hot mess. Poor guy. I think he used to have more tricks. I think he used to be very agile minded, but I think that started falling apart when he started going on world tours.
I mean,
on the anxiety to get to him.
Yeah, on the spectrum of good to bad, on the spectrum of good to bad, of people who I used to like and I've since fallen off from. He's definitely closer to the good side. I don't think he's bad or wrong in any way. It's just he's just kind of like had a fall from grace, and it's just like
No,
it's kind
yeah,
of like it's kind of sad, but it's not really
kind of like
despicable.
the one trick pony. I think analogy is proper. Like he had a really good trick, he did a good job, but his time is now over.
Right.
Guys like Scott Adams, they'll die. Still having more to give, and some men will live on with nothing left to give until they die. That's just how it is. Like the timing between when you're done and when you're dead is entirely unrelated. That's a tragedy of death, isn't it? I mean, Charlie Kirk is a testament to that. He probably had a lot. By the way, can I just one quick thing? The whole like dam of Charlie Kirk and like the dam picture, like with Charlie Kirk, and then like was it bullshit and then stuff that we're trying to do. The purpose of a dam is also to create that gigantic body of water. I think Charlie Kirk had built up a coalition of people that were just not going to ever work together. And then he held them together. So in other words, he built this coalition and then he was the one holding us from the coalition. There was a lot of people that he kind of platformed that maybe he shouldn't have.
Honestly, yeah, it's like with the problem with Charlie is like
he platformed like Elijah's like love tryst. I was like, what the fuck was she for? Just some random trad thing.
It's just
trad
like
cat.
Like that's that's the saddest thing about Charlie going is if there are two benefits to it, it's one from like a Christian perspective, you know, like his tribulations are now over and he gets to pass on and be like at the Lord's side, but like it's the other, it's just like he didn't have to see the fallout from the bomb going off, and that was going to happen whether he died or didn't.
I think he built, yeah, and I think that
cultivated was going to go off eventually.
Yeah, I think he just sort of put people on a list. He didn't really elevate them necessarily, although I think in a few cases he did actually elevate them because no one knew who the hell the Sarah Setka. Okay, so
I didn't know who she was until this whole thing happened either.
Yeah, well, she was a speaker at TPUSA. So I'm like, TPUSA is like starting to look like toilet. It's like this is looking like toilet paper USA. Like,
speaking of her, by the way, I would like to.
Was that Cosmo?
Oh, she did one of those Jubilee things and comported herself quite well.
Right, but exactly.
Numbers. I want to hear what you have to say on this, but I do have a second crucial point.
No, go on. Yeah,
please.
Go ahead.
Okay. So if I was to say that there's a second thing here, it's that how much that it's actually the E part of like the e-Catholic influencers and like all these people that we discover are hypocrites or whatever it is. It's the E part that's a problem because we have moved away from communities where the whole picture of the person is more easy to know. You encounter them in all spheres of in a sort of more holistic picture in a community, and have more prolonged contact that's not heavily mediated or constrained like a podcast or a video where it's a very tight focus and you don't necessarily see all the faults. The E thing, like the fact that we're moving to social media and these like mediated platforms, these less substantial patterns of engagement, essentially like lets these narcissistic weirdos like get away with this kind of thing more. We're essentially more vulnerable to them.
I'm seeing a pattern of immunization though on at least Twitter. Hopefully it takes hold. Maybe it's just a limited number of people who are going to get wise to it, but the pattern has been, oh, I'm an attractive girl. I say something based. There I go. Here's my following.
Yeah.
Like now
that happens a lot more than you might believe. Like I'm sure you've already noticed it. Like it's bigger than you're probably thinking it is.
Yeah, it's I've noticed it for years because like all the guys on the right kind of are simps. I mean, there's no like channel called Black Leftist Perspective because they don't give a shit.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised. There is like if I had a nickel for every like black Marxist or like base black communist or something like there are channels like that do exist.
All right, maybe I'm talking about the ass, but like still the right will elevate to an extreme degree someone just because they are not a typical right winger, and they're saying the things that right wingers want to hear.
Well,
which is a narcissist dream.
Yeah,
really.
it's part of that is just kind of like it's like the whole like GOP thing of just like we want to show people that we're like all those stereotypes that we're a bunch of closed-minded racists. We need to show them that's not true by having this black guy that says conservative stuff, or this gay guy that says conservative stuff, or this woman who says conservative stuff. We need to elevate these people. And it's just like, well, that's cool and everything, man. But like, basically, all you're doing is putting a big old neon sign of just like, say the script and we'll give you money. And that's what you're doing when you do that kind of thing. It's like, it's not, none of it is, or here's a perfect example. What's her name? The Shipka or whatever, the chick that
Sarah Stock.
Yeah, Sarah. Thank you. Sarah Stock, like bad. Like she doesn't actually believe this stuff. She's just looking for like a payout. Good. Erica Kirk. Like you can tell when Erica Kirk talks on this stuff, she actually believes it. Like it's like she's like it's kind of like it's the ratio of like
yeah. The problem is like a lot of the influencers on the right wing sphere are full of shit. Like I don't.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I don't mind naming names. I don't trust Jack Posobiec as far as I could throw the guy.
Most of these people, I see them as blurbs on Twitter, and if they say something that I think is interesting, I'll keep an eye on them. And if like they kind of piss me off, I'll stop. I'll just like
I treat them. I treat them like whores who are trying to find out what I want to hear. Is what it is. It's like
exactly.
They're just trying to shout the message. It's like there's very little signal in this noise.
It's like it's so much. Yeah, it's like when I can tell, like when I'm able to tell that it's a performance. Like that's about the time where I just like switch off. And I'm gonna circle back around to what I was gonna say because it's relevant again. But Sarah Stock, it's like one thing that really like made me upset was she posted that picture of her and her actual husband allegedly getting their union blessed by Pope Francis. It's like she's presenting that in a very lying, deceptive way, because if you look in the background, there's all those other couples dressed very similarly, like in the background. What that is that's probably some kind of like church group or some kind of like advocacy group or something that showed up in a very large group to the Vatican that was on like some kind of like, sponsored trip or something. And the Pope was blessing the group. He wasn't blessing each of them individually. Or it's not like he knew her personally and he like went out of his way. It was a group function that he was at the Vatican, and that's probably what it was. But she was presenting, he's like, look how special I am. The Pope blessed me personally. And it's like, that's disgusting. Yeah. Like you were part of a situation. You were part of a some kind of ceremony or some kind of like gathering that should have been very special to a lot of people, and you're making it all about you. Like it's you got an audience with like with the Vicar of Christ, and you're making it all about you. Like, what does that say about you?
And this is the problem. Is like we need to have I wish the right wing actually had an Inquisition, and the Inquisition would smell sweet. It would be like honey, and what it is trying to give people a opportunity to expose themselves as frauds by making them feel safe. That would actually be the best way to discover them.
Just send in a commissar to like ingratiate himself into like cells and then just like slowly figure them out. And then,
yeah, like honestly, James O'Keefe, he wants to help the right wing out. He should be honeypotting the right wing influencer sphere. That would be so much more interesting because he would also probably do really well. Honestly, like just throw a couple of women at these guys and just see where their values actually fall apart. I mean, this is like messed up, but like throw a girl who's a bit younger on the younger side at like was it James Fishback, the Groyper general governor candidate for Florida?
Is he really actually a gubernatorial? Like, is he actually in? Like, is he actually?
He's in the running. He's in the running.
He's not polling great, but he's there.
No, I would imagine not. But like, that's so ridiculous that these guys are.
He's raised almost no money too. It was really funny. It's like 900.
How old is he? Like, is he even 30?
Yeah, it's he looks like he keeps like posing himself as like anti-Jewish, but this guy looks like Jeff Goldblum. It was like, I think there's some. Oh my gosh. I think there's a reason why you haven't released your 23andMe, buddy. Like, pal, just like. By the way, I think right now would be prime time for someone to just go full Jewish, like go ultra Jew, That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
yeah, like we have like a Hasidic gubernatorial candidate for like New York or something.
Yeah, he just called everybody goy. It's like it's great. He's like, yeah, fuck it.
I would like just like the reaction to Zoran Mamdani is just like Rabbi like
we just have this ultra
just
rabbi,
a Hasidic Jew running for mayor.
Funny. He's like he pops in he's got like his fist in the ear. It's like the goyim demand vengeance.
Yeah. Vote for me, goy, and vote for me, goy. It will be a mitzvah.
Well, the enemies are going to be Meshuggah. There'll be nothing but kvetching.
I would vote for that guy.
That'd be so funny if I just ran as that. I just pretend to be Jewish. It's like I'm not really even.
That's your scandal. That's your political scandal. Not like an affair. Not like bribes. It's like he's not even
actually Jewish.
Not actually Jewish. It's like it turns out it's on the fine print of everything. It's like it's very easy to find out. It's just a Sacha Baron Cohen style, like
it's like one of those true crime documentary photos where it's like black and white, but like one side of the picture is like red, but it's just a picture of you dressed as a rabbi eating a hot dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm behind the 7-Eleven, like eating a cheeseburger and some Reebok, just like guilty, like, just like be funny as fuck.
He was a good man.
He was a good man. He was a good.
He was a good mensch until he wasn't.
I think I made a post. I didn't read the replies to it, but I was like, a lot of
that would be the funniest thing ever. I would actually probably vote for that guy.
It'd be so funny. It'd be like, yeah, it's like Rabbi Goldstein is now the governor of Virginia. Just like the.
Interviewing some random moron like Brooklynite, just like it's like, well, I thought I didn't like the Jews, but then I remembered the Jews invented the Reuben sandwich for the goy, and I kind of like the Reuben sandwich.
So just denigrate the population. It's like
I mean, but like this thing, it's like people will be like, oh yeah, goyim is like a slur, but it's literally not. It's like if a Japanese person called you like gaijin, like it's not an insult. It's just what you are.
It's not a slur in a per se, but it can be used as a slur.
You can make it sound like a slur.
If I like say it a certain way.
Yeah, you can.
If I give you a hard W,
it's what you are. It's what you are. It's like, and like me and my buddies.
Yeah, that's right. It's what you are.
Yeah, me and my buddies in like the Discord server, like we were making jokes about it. It's just like we need to like reclaim the word goy, like the way the black people have reclaimed the N word.
I made an analysis of that. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that people are trying to like call themselves goy, because it's very much like black guys call themselves niggas. Like you're just like making your identity as being a victim out group.
Sure. Well, I mean, we're joking, but it's just like one guy. I said that, and then like the first reply I got to that in the Discord server was like, "Goy, are you for real?"
Yeah. By the way, I think white people are mostly.
What up, my goy?
Goyim, please. Yeah, you go over and like you picked up a sandwich while you're out at lunch for your other coworker who's working hard. I was like, here's your goy snacks.
Was it? And like one of the other guys was like, he responds like, he's like, I heard him say, "Can a goy borrow a French fry?" Now, how is a goy gonna borrow a French fry? Goy, is you gonna give it back?
It'd be really funny if there was a rabbi just roast comedian. That'd be pretty great. And I want him to wear like white tennis shoes. He's just wearing white Reeboks, just shiny as hell.
I forget what it was, but
have the full Hasidic outfit plus the white Reeboks.
There was a video like 10 years ago, but they got a Catholic priest and like a Reformed Orthodox rabbi to like sit down and like watch like random video, like YouTube videos or scenes from movies, and those two like they were just having a great time. Like they were just like laughing their asses off.
By the way, this is another thing. Is like I think people don't. I have an affinity for the Jews because when they're having a lot of fun with it.
Sure.
Poor Alex Cosmo's video cut out. Oh, I hope he's still with us.
I'm sure I hate it when this shit happens.
It's just bullshit, man. It's the insteadification of technology. Everything's crap. You're going.
One of my best friends in high school was Jewish, and like he was like his family was like super nice, like all of his extended relatives, like I don't have any problems with Jewish people.
Yeah, as long as they're not. This is the thing I don't like when white people do this either, is when they start wallowing in victimhood. It's like this is lame.
Oh sure,
yeah. So I'm very. This is another thing that I think made me like throw up some red flags to people. Is like you cannot be like a victim ever, even if you are a victim. It's important not to be a victim. because you will start acting like a bitch. That's what you've really lost.
That's very true.
And it's like, was it Alex? You and I have talked about this before. It's like the whole thing of like, like I just call myself an American, not an Irish American. It's like I don't want to do that because like I look at Ireland and like they're just a bunch of like big wussies who's just like, oh, we were kicked around by the English for so long, like we're so tortured. And it's just like, what? Yeah, well, now you're letting your country get taken over by third worlders because you're trying to appease the UN, who also hates you. So maybe grow a pair and like grow up, and then like maybe I'll consider like talking about like my Irish heritage again. Like,
we should have a conversation sometime, maybe next week, about why America has been robust against all the bullshit. Because I made mean comments this past week. I will say they're mean. That is like a bunch of Europeans were saying like, well, look at all the influence that America had on us. I was like, motherfuckers, you guys had agencies. Like apparently a bunch of hick ass uneducated MAGA voters were less of a sucker than you guys were. I was like, at some point,
our culture is just prime. Like we just have the best culture in the world, and people are, oh, you like no. I was like, yeah, we do. Everyone watches our movies. Everyone buys our clothes. Everyone, like everyone loves everything. Like everyone listens to our music. Like our culture is just the dominant prime one on the planet right now.
Well, and also they'll blame woke on America. Like, well, this is a Yankee ideology. I was like, yeah, you damn right. You guys fell for that bullshit.
The thing is not even. It's like all the American like woke stuff. Like they learned it from Europe.
Well, I mean, we could play the blame game and find out the origin, but America, like Jurassic Park, we just sort of packaged it. Productized it, shipped it, sent it, like made it into like this refined form that was hyper infectious, and then but that's welcome to America. We're constantly infecting everybody all the time. There's a gigantic gain of function research lab in America.
Well, I remember there was a paraphrase of an old Tim Allen joke from when he was still doing stand up, where like the actual joke is just like women say men are pigs. He's like, men are pigs, like, and then he just says, it's a shame that we own everything, isn't it? And it's just like, and then he's just like, and like someone like made a paraphrase of that. It's just like, Americans are pigs. Like, yeah, it's too bad we own everything, isn't it?
I think I looked up like who has the market capitalization in terms of corporate wealth, and America has 71% of the entire planet Earth's market cap within its borders, which is fucking insane. Like, forget about GDP. This is like the value of our companies are nations in and of themselves. Like if Exxon Valdez wanted to take over a small country, they absolutely could, and they would have plenty left over.
Yeah, like, bring back the banana republics we used to run back in like the Gilded Age.
They wouldn't even need the CIA to help them either. They just do it. They just need us to.
Like that's the thing. Like back in the day, like American corporations, like they would just hire like Panamanian mercenaries and just like go take over like a random quadrant of like South America or Africa. Like, it's just like that's just the way it
Europe
was.
At some point, man. Like Europe is a third world country at this point. Like, I don't know if are they going to make it? Are they going to come back from this?
I don't know. They've got to get out of their own ass.
They also got to stop blaming America because they are taking on the victim roles. Like, well, that's great. And by the way, can I say this? This whole Amelia thing has been the biggest cope bullshit.
It's pretty. I mean, that's pretty. Like, that is pretty funny though. If you like look into the
funny,
whole,
but it's like another cultural icon. It's like you need to have some level of hard power or something going on.
It's like every time like I see one of those, like, you want to talk about like tradcast, trad religion. Like I love the trad government types, like the trad monarchists or whatever. Other countries who are we're gonna take over we're gonna take the colonies back. And like my response to that is like, you know what, man? Work on that. Definitely bottle that up. Tell you what though, like you've got like a bunch of Palestinians or like whatever, like taking over London. Tell you what, champ, eat your broccoli, then maybe you can try to have some steak.
Yeah, the thing is, they're like the rich kid who's no longer rich, and they still keep acting and thinking and talking like they're rich. One second, I just gotta be
try fighting your weight class first, and then maybe you can step up to the champ.
Right.
But anyway, how'd that tournament thing from last week go, Alex?
It went really well. It was fucking exhausting though to be streaming what? I think 14 hours on Saturday or something like.
Good night. Yeah, that's a long one. That's a long haul.
Yeah. Do not recommend. Well,
no.
It was fun, but it's a lot of fucking work. like 2-3 hour streams. Like let's make that the norm.
Yeah. I forget what war game is it that you play now that you're not on the 40K train anymore?
War Machine. I haven't been on the 40K train for like, what year is it?
26.
23 years.
Good man. Yeah, it's like that was before like the enshittification even started.
Yes, it was. Well, there's also like periods of lore I've missed. Like I have no idea what the Leagues of Votan are about.
Oh, that's them dusting off something they had back in like Gen 1 because they needed
I figured
they needed a new faction.
I figured it was they brought the squats back, but I have no idea.
That's exactly what it is. And if you watch Tom and Don, the guys who create Space King, on their B channel, they talk about like the dumbest things that Games Workshop has done lately. That's one of them, is like bringing back the squats, and they're like, I don't like them. They're like, I don't like the Space Dwarves. Like people saying like we need a new faction. It's just like, no, I'm just like just work up the factions you've got.
Yeah, I think the new Space Dwarves I still don't understand it. Like they're kind of just miniature Space Marines. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, it's just like they're caving to like the new just like.
Be good. Be good if the Space Dwarves, the whole thing. And I'm not even going to call them what their name, like Sons of whatever the Votan. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, the Leagues of Votan.
The Leagues of Votan. What if they worked more like a tower defense faction?
I guess that would be like if they specialize in like barrier warfare as opposed to like everyone else. Like that could be interesting. But that's the problem. They didn't do that. They just made them another faction.
Yeah, it's fucking Games Workshop, man. You just got to put a couple of
suck. They suck bad.
Yeah, like again, we were saying like earlier, culture,
it's
right?
It's the best intellectual property in a dog shit game.
Pretty much. Oh, you want to talk about you want to talk about really good IP that's like being strangled by a shitty company? Are you guys aware of what Trench Crusade is?
I am aware of Trench Crusade, and what a
waste of talent.
I shit on Trench Crusade so much. I make fun of it. I just say it's like edgelord Catholic bullshit. I was like, what is this? I keep looking into it. It's like, because I love lore. I love lore of different universes, and I'm like, why is this so fucking edgy? Oh my god!
The first iteration when it first came out was actually pretty interesting because it proposed just like an interesting like what if for like a grimdark conflict to like rival like people who are getting like tired of Games Workshop ruining 40K. And then the problem is like those guys like realized that their like a number one market share was all chuds, and they didn't like that. So they started
many such cases.
Yeah, they started fucking up their own lore. It's like, well, maybe if we do this, the chuds will go away. And it's like, yeah, they will go away, and they're just gonna constantly like shit talk your game and like ruin your market share. Because guess what, man? All those like lefty like shit libs that like talk about how much they like nuance and like stuff like and like subversions of expectations, they don't actually buy stuff. Like they never buy anything. They just talk about how they want it, and then like when you give it to them, they don't like you lose money because they didn't buy it.
Let me show you a picture of what a power user is. This is what franchises are built off of. Dudes that look like this.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, like the entire companies will have like 1,000 of these customers, and it'll keep them going.
That man is the backbone of so many industries. You have
he's the modern Medici. If like this is who you work for. This is actually who the entire planet works for, and we kind of all hate it.
Everybody thought it was the Rothschild.
Like how Corvette owners. Yeah, how
Corvette like the general manager at some machine milling plant or something like that. It's just like, oh my gosh. There's one of these posts that was like, how a guy looks when he's about to pay for dinner for 8 of his family members. It's like that's like
how Corvette owners dress when their wife tells them they're going to a fancy dinner.
It's so fucking funny.
That's like I've known like 7 of that guy because like I play like D&D. I played Warhammer for like a little while. Like I was big into like art, like tabletop and stuff like that. It's like I've known like 6 of this guy, and they're like the coolest dudes that you'll ever meet ever.
They're the ones that keep the franchises going. Like this guy would drop like 10 grand on like an army if he wanted to. Just shows up in some comic book shop. Was like, hey, you know what? I'm the whale. I want to go straight to the top.
Yeah, you guys got that limited edition Lehman Russ tank that's like $250. I'll take one. Yeah, right up there, Cap.
I had a friend who was very, very much that trajectory type of guy. Like every now and again, he'd just get drunk and drop like $1,000 on a new army, like maybe once every couple of months.
Suspiciously wealthy software engineers or suspiciously wealthy like IT administrators.
Money was so not real. This is the thing, is like a lot of Zoomers. I feel I have a lot of pity for Zoomers. By the way, I have a tremendous amount of sympathy for Zoomers, but the only way I can help you is to continually beat the bricks off you, because it's the only thing that's going to prepare you for the future. But I have tremendous sympathy because the age of fake money is ending in real time, is it not? Yeah. We are in the after show, by the way. Fucking Bitcoin is shitting all over the place. It's dying.
I would like to say I was never ever on the shitcoin train, and it took me years, but I am vindicated. I am vindicated for saying that this was dumb and it was never gonna be worth anything. I feel vindicated.
It's magic. Yeah, it's magic beans, man. It's like I once had this conversation with someone who's a real Bitcoin believer. And I said its value is entirely based on speculation, and he had no argument for that. It was like, because it is. It's like there's no.
It's just a speculation vehicle. I mean, it may free it up for like its intended purpose. Like, essentially the bottom has fallen out in the speculative market, but there are actually still markets that take an exchange. So like maybe they can actually start using it as money.
I'm trying to remember what was that one stock crash? What was that one stock crash that happened before the Civil War? It was like the panic of like 50. It was like the panic of like 58 or something like that. But if I remember correctly, that was like it was like a compound problem where like the reserve lost a bunch of it, like its excess gold in transit, and then on top of that there was just like massively ridiculous amounts of like unchecked speculation that was like out of control, and
know what's happening right now?
It's basically a U.S. tulip mania.
You know what happened is like some libertarian got a monkey's paw and made a wish that the market becomes based on value again, and that's what's happening right now. And it's all fucking falling apart. It's like if you were living on a market that was built on a lie, you'd want to keep that lie going as long as possible.
Oh yeah, of course. Because like once the con is up, it's up. Like you're not making any more money.
There is, yeah. Well, it's if you want the days of the post-war boom, it's all bullshit. It all became bullshit. Unless we go and bomb the Japanese again, it's going to remain bullshit. Like, because it was based on a tremendous advantage that Americans had over the entire planet.
Yeah, it's like we're the only country in the world that feasibly, as long as the war is not with China, as long as the war is not with Mexico or Canada, we are the only country in the world that could have a war economy if we wanted to. Which, I mean, some people would argue that we do with like the military-industrial complex. That's not what I mean when I say a real war economy. Like a bloodthirsty war economy would only work for us because we are completely inundated from like every other country in the world, because none of them have a standing army that could actually like reach us to like fight us. Like if Europe tried to like mobilize a navy to come like fight us on our soil, we'd blow them out like halfway across the Atlantic.
Yeah, the post-war that we're in right now, where words mean nothing, which is what they've always been worth. That's what they say. Like the world built on lies is really a world built on agreements. Really, because an agreement only becomes a lie when it's violated. Right. So now we're finding these agreements that have long lasted beyond what their use was. America doesn't really believe in agreements anyway. We're a culture of what have you done for me lately? Which, by the way, if you ever worked as a contractor for anybody, you know that your next payment is what gets you your current payment, right? Well, a company will stiff you forever unless they need you for work again later, in which case they'll then honor their previous agreement with you. Like if this is the last time you do business with them, there is no reason for them not to stiff you.
A business agreement is a scale. If it's not equal, it's worth nothing. And I actually had to learn this earlier this week because, without giving any details, like a guy that I've been building a business relationship for almost 2 years at this point, like he just fucked us. Like he fucked us by trying to like stick us with a bank bill that he said he said that we were good to cover, that he never asked me or any of my bosses about once. And it's like, we had an agreement with you that that we would do this, and it's been a year and a half, and you have not kept up your part of the bargain. This agreement
this is why
over. It's nothing. If you're not doing your part, there is no agreement. We did our part. You didn't do your part.
He is right. By the way, this is why merchants absolutely mog scholars and warriors. 100%. It's working. It's in my script that I'm working on, but it's like merchants know how to deal with these nuances. Like merchants actually know how to deal with the game theory of business dealings in an international level, which is why like some random real estate mogul from Queens was able to just mog the entire West. Like there is no West anymore. It's just America and anyone who's allied with America.
That's my favorite thing about Trump. That's my favorite thing about Trump is people talk about like, I can't believe he's doing this. I was like, have you ever read The Art of the Deal? I can absolutely believe he's doing this.
He's absolutely fucking.
Oh, it's so funny that Europe can get out from
eminently believable.
Yeah, it's like Europe could get out from under Trump at any time that they wanted, as long as they knew how to co-signal his methods. But they don't read Art of the Deal. It's like Patton only, like one of the things that helped Patton beat Rommel in tank combat is the fact that Rommel published a book with all of his tricks in it, and Patton read it before World War II started.
That's a certain humility that Americans have, is that we love an underdog and we actually identify with underdogs. We don't identify with great kings and Napoleon or some great generals. Like, no, we identify with the scrappy underdog. Even if you are a great king and general of America, it's like scrappy underdog. Always feel like an underdog. Like Elon Musk is always hungry. Bezos is always hungry. They're always a shadow of what they want to be. I
don't even know if it's even really an underdog. It's just like, we appreciate people who conduct themselves correctly and get results. Like it's like, for example, like a lot of people talk about the Confederacy being the underdog in the Civil War. They weren't, by the way. That's if you actually know your history, that's not an accurate reading of that conflict at all. But it's like, I always liked Ulysses S. Grant because like there's this weird cultural perception that he's like this, like he was like a drunk who didn't get results. He was a very smart, very successful general, and the whole thing of like, oh, he was a drunk, like that's like
he's a drunk who got results.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the whole like, oh, he was just a bloated drunk. Like that was a bunch of cope from the Southerners after the war was over. But it's like during the actual fighting, he was very successful and he was very strategic and he was very smart. And it's like, so I like him. I like, I mean, that's not to say the Confederacy didn't have like smart generals too, but it's just like, like as Americans, we like the people who get the results. It's like,
well, the funny thing is about what kind of smart, right? Like America will destroy its own mythology of what is a hero and what is smart and what is honorable and what is valorous based on our most recent engagements that were successful, right? Like, and we also give a lot of like credit to our enemies when they best us. And we'll actually kind of canonize them as like great heroes. There's not a lot of hatred. By the way, America is also a unique country, is that we don't harbor a lot of hatred towards our enemies who have beaten us in a war. There's not a lot of hatred towards Vietnam. There's actually not a lot of hatred towards North Korea. We're like, well, you got us fair and square.
Well, no, that's the thing. We beat Vietnam. Like that's the thing. If you think about it, we forced them to the negotiating table at the Paris Accords. Like, yes, technically speaking, we quote unquote lost, but like we still retained our power over them. Like we were still we still showed that we were the big dog in the yard.
Yeah. The point though is that Americans will not just do this weird denialism. I still hear like British will describe Americans as traitors. I was like, is that what you see us as? Because that's going to be how we interact.
Your way of doing things is working so well for you.
Yeah, I have a lot of rancorous disgust towards the Euro mindset. It's something that I want to talk about, but I don't have any Euros that are going to talk fair and balanced just yet. I thought we had one, but I think he might be not so balanced. I see someone who's willing to be realistic.
It's so
but also
funny.
Like, push back on me. Like I don't.
One of my buddies sent me something that was really funny. It was from like this. It was from like this like joke book from like the early 70s, and it was like, you know, how the white Anglo-Saxon person like perceives like every other ethnicity and country in the world, and the one for the British was so funny. I was laughing about it for a solid like 5 minutes, but it was like, you know, just like cold-blooded reptilians with bad complexions and horrible teeth that conquered half of the world but still somehow haven't figured out central heating. And I thought that was so funny. because it's so true. Like they try to like do all this like high-minded shit to America. It's like, yeah, we have this little thing called air conditioning. How about you?
There's a thing that keeps America together. I think that it's very anathema to the old world mindset. I think America is very much like a pirate ship. Like we're all very mercenary. Because if our government started fucking us over in any way, personally, we would immediately rebel. Like we just like there'd be all loyalty is gone. I don't care about the agreements, the oaths, nothing of that matters. You're fucking me. Like why are you?
We are a tempestuous people. We are the culture that like we had pirates of our own. We had cowboys. We had outlaws.
We don't have a European sense of honor at all, which makes us foreigners to them.
Well. We have a baseline divergence, but it's kind of like it's similar, but like we kind of did ours a little bit better, and we're kind of vindicated in the long run.
It doesn't regulate us the way it does Europeans. Like we have, like our sense of honor is more post hoc than I think we'd want to admit.
Well, it's like even like
what wins?
If you want to talk about like the way like the British like viewed certain things, it's like. When it came to like military engagement, like what they viewed as honor and like martial martial heroics, it's all very flowery and grandiose. And we kind of saw that on the flip side during the American Civil War, because the Union was staffed mostly of like actual like West Point graduates who were very young, very smart, very studied. They knew how like the battlefield works. They knew what tactics were. And the Confederacy was staffed mostly by a bunch of like older men who had these like high-minded, like Romanesque ideals about like the glory of martial combat. And so you had like their tactics were a bunch of like hard charging and like rah once more into the breach, and they would get like blown away because they cared more about having glory in combat than getting results in battle.
This is the thing I think the Europeans fucked up on, is that they did not pay closer attention and give proper heed to the American Civil War. Because I think the thought there in Europe was that, well, Americans are just bad at war, so this cataclysmic war was just because they suck. Because, by the way, the Europeans will always just say that we suck. That's their explanation for everything. Or
they can say that it's not true, but they can say it.
Yeah, I was like, no, what you saw was a mechanized war doctrine versus a traditional valor doctrine, and valor got its ass whooped so hard, and valor and honor and duty and courage mean nothing when you're facing down a Gatling gun.
What you saw during the American Civil War was you saw a knife running against a honing rod. It was literally iron sharpening iron, and that it was like watching martial prowess like compound itself against itself to create something that was better and stronger for all future engagements.
One thought before Cosma goes off, because I know Cosma's got a lot of thoughts here. We made peace. The greatest achievement in Civil War is that we made peace afterwards, by the way.
Yeah.
That was tremendous, because we were able to mend what we'd broken, and the soldiers were like wanted peace. That's what I'm saying is like the inoculation towards enmity is sometimes you just need to have a full-on brawl, but also like no grudges were kept until they were resurfaced recently for the purpose of the left.
Yeah, like more people now who are completely removed from it are mad about the Civil War than any of the men who actually fought in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
Anyway. Yeah, Cosmo, you had something?
Cosmo's got
just the valor versus machinery thing. Everybody low-key operates on what wins. Like a lot of this stuff is in fact like post hoc. If the Southerners had the option to do like, if they had the industrial capacity that the North had, they would have used it.
I think so too. Like the same with the samurai too. The samurai trained with guns. There's no like stigma against guns from the samurai. What I'm saying though is that the Europeans were not realizing that there was this industrialization to warfare that was going to render like the charge of the Light Brigade and all these other feudal attempts towards gallantry. Like in other words, it was the death of gallantry, which
the only thing that I appreciate about the charge of the Light Brigade is that eventually it gave us the song "The Trooper" by Iron Maiden.
See, the thing is, it's not. They didn't wind up in that. Like they didn't wind up in the situation they are in because they were fools or failed to see, like, you know, like failed to use or heed the technology. Like, all these things have to be learned forward. They're where they are now because, like, their best men died. That's it.
This is true.
That's it.
Well, the thing is, their high-minded ideals of honor put the best men up front first.
Look, here's the thing. Like, when it comes to like metaphysics, you can have, debates about human equality and stuff like that. But when it comes to like usefulness to society, not all people are equal.
That's what I'm saying.
Not all people are equal, or of and oughtn't be considered of equal worth. So, like, you just have to keep in mind that, like, Sturgeon's law also applies to, like, the societal usefulness of human beings. And I'm not making like a Yuval Noah Harari like useless eaters point. I'm just saying, like, like 90% is crap, and you just kind of have to comport yourself to that. And it's like, it's weird to it seems weird to me to try and make a one size fits all judgment criterion for like in this kind of way for the entirety of a culture, knowing that that what we're actually talking about when we're talking about like the impact of like a culture or a nation or a people is actually the contributions of quite a small handful of individuals, against a backdrop of societal stability and norms for in the context of a lot of people who are not making these extraordinary contributions. And I just feel like, okay, yeah, I think Europe does have serious cultural technological problems, but like, when we're trying to do this, like, like examine the European character or whatever, I feel like we're, it's really getting into like a not productive comparison of of apples and oranges, because we keep changing, the level at which we're evaluating them. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I guess, I guess you would just have to say, like, you have to draw the line against people who show some kind of self-preservation against people who don't. I guess maybe that's maybe that's where you draw the line, because I mean, America has a somewhat similar problem. I mean, we have a massive problem with like the left wing in this country, and it's just kind of like the underpinnings of like what drives them on is, it is a detriment to us as a republic, and it's just kind of like, I guess that's fair. You could lob some of the same stuff we were saying back at America itself. Absolutely. That there is a detrimental like inner group.
Well, there's also take a look at this, is that the difference between courage and brainwashing in modern warfare. A lot of what I see from the American left is very similar to what I saw working in Intel against the Middle Eastern terrorists. Is like, these people aren't actually brave; they're just brainwashed to fuck. This is not bravery. What they've done is they've debased their own life to the point where to the point of desperation, so that driving a car into a police officer is not considered like a suicidal act. It's like something for approval, or something for status, something for gains, both in this world or the next world. 72 virgins, right?
Yeah, or
something like that sort of stuff. It's like, you see that honor is actually an interesting and complicated subject that I almost wish, like, if we didn't have day jobs, I would love if everybody just started reading books on honor, and we just had a thing like, we're putting honor on trial. And did honor die in World War I? Like, when did honor die? Like, does honor exist now, or is it just purely results?
I think, well, okay, so here's I'll be generous, because I made fun of the charge of the Light Brigade a second ago. I'll be generous because I'm a Texan, so like we have our own little honorable story about the men who didn't make it, like the Alamo defenders. Do I think the Alamo defenders were honorable? I do. Do I think they got results? Well, they didn't, because they all died. But they didn't really have a choice. Like they were surrounded on all sides in a fortress, which wasn't even a fortress. It was just like a mission. It was a wall. It was a mission, right? Yeah, it was adobe walls that wouldn't stand up to like too much besiegement. But it's just like the Alamo defenders, they showed honor because like there's that folk story that Colonel Travis like drew the line in the sand with his saber and said, no one will judge you if you don't want to stay here. You can step across the line and leave. And nobody crossed the line. And so it's just like we don't know that that's true. Like there's no proof that's
a myth.
Yeah, but like we want to believe that it's true because it's a good story.
Well, everyone there's a line and if you drew it or not, there's a line. Every soldier contemplates desertion.
Well, the line was the walls of the Alamo. If they even if they didn't want to die, like if they surrendered, the decision was already made by the Mexicans. Like if they weren't going to offer quarter. Anyone who like walked out of there that wasn't a woman or a child, they were just going to kill them. They already made that decision in advance. So it's like even if you wanted to cross the line, like if you climbed over that wall, they were just going to kill you anyway.
Well, it's the line before the battle, right? Though.
Yeah, exactly.
You could flee. Like before, you could just like before the battle begins.
The thing that's important though is like it's the aftermath. Like yes, the Alamo defenders didn't make it, but it became a good story for the Texicans that were left. That and when Sam Houston like gave his address and he said, "Remember the Alamo," like that gave the men the extra kick to fight a little bit harder. Now, granted that like the Battle of San Jacinto wasn't exactly like a rousing, exciting battle story because it was a sneak attack. They caught the Mexicans when they were on siesta, but still, it's just like it's the principle of the thing that they had something extra to fight for because these were men that they knew.
The funny thing about American honor, this is an interesting thing. You could probably write a dissertation on this. Is how does European and American honor differ? Because the Americans have had to fight the natives, other colonists,
each other
exactly to form this thing. Like this entire nation has been forged in battle, even like battle with the environment. The amount of death in the frontiersmen was incredible. It was like 70% mortality rate for a frontiersman.
Yeah,
is insane levels of like investment of blood in this land very recently, right? Like
people are still battling the land to this very day. To live in the state of Oklahoma is basically like to live with the fear that you could die in a tornado like every single year, like multiple times.
You lose everything.
It's just it's a weird like magical place where tornadoes just love to spawn for some reason. And like they know that
95% of tornadoes that occur on Earth occur in the United States.
Yeah. Most of them in like they say Tornado Alley, but most of them have actually been isolated to the state of Oklahoma. And it's just like
that state in particular.
Well, it's just like I people don't know why. Like it's like a guy came all the way like back in like the 50s. Like there was like a scientist from Japan came to like figure out like why this keeps happening, and he couldn't figure out why, but he's like the one who like he kind of perfected the mechanism of like understanding, and like he's the one who came up with like the scale, like the tornado scale.
Mm-hmm. All right, I want to talk a little bit about this graphic that you had. I don't have it handy, but it's the 3 different tribes and who's making it. Right? Was it neat?
The Judeo, like
yeah. If somebody can pull that up, I'll share it. But it's like, no, this is
find it.
This is kind of the weird thing. It says Americans are very European, but they're wilded, right? Like it's like you introduced an animal back to the wild, so it still has a lot of the traits of the domesticated variety, the refinement, but it is a bit feral. Americans are a little bit feral, and I hope they always stay feral.
Americans are a little bit feral, but I think that once again stands out in like juxtaposition to the Europeans. Like, we can say like they had to fight and all this stuff, but like Europe was not homogenous. Europe was not a monolith. Like,
oh, sure.
The identity of like Europe is centuries and centuries of conflict with Islam.
I feel like the German also like
conflict with one another. Like, we're scions of them, and we went a little bit wild, or a little bit feral out here. But like, it really is it stands out in stark contrast to like the tameness of Europeans now, not necessarily that they don't have this in them or that it's like some defect of character or whatever, you know, because like, where do you think we get it from?
Well, it's like yeah, it's like that thing I've said a few times to you, Alex, where it's like my general perception of like the various like European cultures is just like my percent like when I was a kid, my perception of like the British was like these just sort of like gentlemen, like outdoorsmen, because like that was like, you know, in a lot of the books and stories and movies I saw, like that was like the thing. It's like if you took a guy from that era when that was still like kind of the case, it's like you could compare him to an American outdoorsman and you would see like radical differences, like just like the way of dress, the way his boots are designed, the way his horse is bred, the way his saddle looks. But at the same time, it's just like a lot of the outdoorsman tradition amongst like people descended from like Anglican whites, it's like it's still there. Like you can still see it. It's just it's a very different kind of like funhouse mirror version of it.
Yeah, the American way has been a bit perverted as well with artificial sustenance redistribution through the Civil Rights Act beyond. Well, welfare basically. Welfare has buoyed a lot of stuff that does not make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it has.
I think FDR.
I think that the top end, the Judeo Hapas here on and the Neo Shudras would probably actually be very small parts, and most people would be the Hispano Teutons, in my opinion. Because
I don't know.
Well, it depends on. Well, all right. Let's say we're staying on Earth. I think that
I think if we're staying on Earth,
sure.
The number of dependents in, you know, in like proportional terms and absolute terms will only continue to rise.
Number of dependents. I mean,
yeah. Essentially, like, you know, your UBI underclass.
This is what I'm saying is that those wouldn't exist. I'm not saying that like if we stopped doing that, if we stopped paying for bullshit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like I didn't specify that. If we pay for bullshit, we're gonna get the worst parts of everything.
Yeah.
Because
it turns out like keeping like third world like savages and, you know, uncivilized people in like food and lodging forever is significantly more expensive than going to space and unlocking unlimited resources.
Correct. I think the Neo Shudras will actually probably just be like, I would call them the Neo Romani. They just sort of become
like
wandering
gypsy
gypsies.
People.
Yeah, like they're just thieving in music and art.
Well, if they're based on like indie, like I'm gonna finish like that qualification, but like you like yeah, the whole thing of like, you know, it's like Shudra like implies like India is just like you said like Romani, but it's like we all know the thing about like Indians, like they're all like, you know, the cultural perception, they're all phone scammers, they're all
I think here's what's going to happen. I think with the tech world in America is that a lot of the tech world is going to start noticing whether or not the laws allow them to or not. They're going to notice and they're going to act on it because the market acts on rationality.
Well, I mean, past a certain point, a lot of these tech companies, they're just gonna realize they're gonna sit down and like at a meeting one point, and it's not gonna be a thing about like the noticing. It's just gonna be like they're gonna look at like their projections, they're gonna look at like all of their reports, and they're gonna be like, our product doesn't work. Why is this?
Well, they're gonna
realize it's because they hired a bunch of like Indian engineers that just make spaghetti code.
No, it's not gonna be the engineers, leadership, everything.
Yeah.
Like all of it's gonna be like, oh, you have a C-level Indian, therefore you're a low value brand. You're on the downswing. And the stock market is going to reflect that because the stock market is just people making rational decisions. So it's like, oh, we've named Agrawit Angarwal as the CEO, and then your stock just fucking tanks and doesn't recover until you replace it with Tim Miller.
Did you see that post I made like a couple days ago about the that Indian guy who is the cyber defense like chairman or whatever?
Oh yeah, of Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, like Madhu, like
he like put it in some public.
He put a bunch of or whatever, but it's just like I made the joke from Office Space where it's the Bobs. It was just like it was a Madhu got gotta find a new job pretty soon.
Yeah, well, by the way, I think a lot of Americans are going to start realizing the boomers were actually the most well-adjusted generation towards the new world that we're in. They may have just understood what to do properly.
Were they though?
I don't think so.
Extremely scammy, selfish, very, very racist. Yes.
Wait,
hold on. You're misconflating some things. You have to remember the boomers were also the hippie generation.
I know that. Yeah, sure.
The boomers were the ones who gave us all this shit.
Yeah, it's like the greatest generations were the ones who were I'm racist. What
this boomer, this shit. Do I still have him here? Fuck. No, I don't. I have Nick Fuentes' allegedly hot sister. That's not what I want. Corvette owners.
I don't think I would want that either.
This boomer right here, he knew what the fuck was going on. He was a fuck you, I've got mine, I'm keeping it kind of mindset.
So I will tell you something a little odd. This guy is not a generational cohort. He's an ethnic cohort.
That's
all right. Well, the thing is a bit of association between those two, isn't it? Certain generations had certain.
Actually, I just looked.
No. You will find this guy in every generation. He is an ethnic phenomenon.
Oh, I see.
He's right. No, he's right. But I'm gonna say, looking at this little guy again, the only thing that's missing from this that would make it perfect is if he also had like tall socks on with the
yes. Someone said that. I also like. I'm enjoying the hiking the pants up look. I'm kind of tired of keeping my pants right at my waist.
Have you seen that one guy who makes that sketch where it's like was it point of view like you're at your father's house and you've just turned 30, and it's a guy who's like he's getting ready to like put on like his jeans and t-shirt, and then like he looks over at the dresser and there's a pair of like jorts and a pair of like New Balance sneakers, and he's just like he just sees his father like ominously like appear in the doorway, and he's just like nodding, and he's just like pulling the waistline up like ever higher, and like his father just keeps nodding.
Yep.
And it's just like he just like pulls the socks up with this. Yeah, that guy. That guy's perfect.
What is this ethnic cohort? Is this? It feels Germanic to me.
They're usually like 50-50 Scotch and German.
Yeah, Scots. This is just like suburban Scots Irish like boomer.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Or I mean, like it's like like every generation.
Actually owning the Corvette is a generational phenomenon, but the owning a Corvette polo shirt is not.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, but no, it's like every generation has had this guy, but he's probably like a white like Scots Irish or like Land O'Lakes Nordic descendant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this as a Southerner. Like everyone says that Southerners are super nice. I think Southerners are nice, but I think you're not going to see super nice until you go up to like Land O'Lakes country and meet like Wisconsin people, or just like the you betcha kind of people.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be too nice. You should be a little bit of spicy with that sweet. This is the right mix.
I liked it. I liked it nice. I like the idea that like I could like move into a neighborhood and there's just like some you betcha neighbors who are like, oh yeah, we're gonna turn on the old Packers game, and we're gonna grill some brats. You want to come on over? And I'm like,
the problem with being like in a nice. All right, so this is my personal experience. Every time I move into a nice area, whether it's a job or a school cohort or a social space, whatever it is, once everyone is nice, I feel like I'm in the 7th Samurai, or was it 13 Samurai? What the fuck movie it was? I'm in a situation where it's like a bunch of hapless people who need to be defended, and I end up being like the designated mean dude. So every time I go into a nice community,
that's called becoming the block captain. My father had to go through that.
I hate that shit. Oh my god, I want to be.
My old man, like he just kind of got used to it, because my old man was also in like the Lions Club, so it's like he's like, oh hey, this thing's going on. We don't really like it that much. He's like, okay, I'll remember that. And like the next time they had like the Lions Club meeting, he would like mention it, or like he would go to like the town hall, and be like, yeah, we've got this problem. and I'd appreciate if you could do something about it.
That's what Trump is doing right now. He just said that 2% of the population is responsible for like 50% of the crime.
It's like I think I mentioned it last time I was on. Like I grew up in a very like Mayberry kind of society when I was like a very little kid until I was about like 10 years old. Like I kind of like lived that existence, and it's like I kind of think I'm better for it because it's just like I got to watch my dad be like Andy, and I'm like, yeah, this is what a man is supposed to like. This is how a man is supposed to conduct himself. It's just like you like this is your community, this is your neighborhood. You see a problem, you're going to do something about it.
Well, that's another thing is the tragedy of it is like, yes, to protect your neighborhood, yes, you will have to do a lot of things, and some of them are going to make women sad.
Well, my mom didn't really complain because I mean, but like that's the thing. It's like you know, it was go to church. He was good friends with the pastor. It's like that kind of stuff because like I
meant from a universal standpoint of you're gonna have to do like deporting a shitload of people is gonna mean you're gonna have to make some women sad.
Yeah, some of the hoes might be scared, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
In fact, if you're not doing it, I kind of question whether or not you're doing the right thing at some point. It's like all ladies should be kind of scared of when you're doing the right thing to an incredible degree, because it's like. I think it was like 6 months ago or something like that. I was going out with my shotgun and just blasting skunks to pieces. It's like, no, you got to do it.
You're working a little hard for it. I used to trap skunks, and then I would go out to a reasonable distance to where I didn't have to smell them let out their guts, and I would just like shoot them from afar.
No, they weren't too smelly. Luckily, these ones weren't. The one that was closest to me when I shot it, it like had its legs had like front legs had fallen off, basically just hanging on like a Pez dispenser. I was like, damn, this.
I shot one once with like an old like lever action rifle I had. I wasn't too close to it, but like I shot him like that, and it's like he died, and like he just like let out his like stench that he had built up. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was dying. After that, I was like, okay, good, he's in the trap. And then I would go like really far out with like a long range rifle, and then I would shoot him. And I'm like, there we go. I'm just gonna let that marinate for a little while until it stops smelling, and then I'll drag it away.
I don't mind the stink too much, but I didn't have a trap out either, so I was just like, either shoot them or suffer them further.
We had a dog. We had a dog who kept getting skunked, and I was like, I hate this smell. I hate smelling the smell.
Yeah,
we used to drive around and like smell the road, like the skunk roadkill smell, and I was like, I hate skunk stench. I can't stand it.
And my image of a functioning society has changed quite a bit since work from home, because I don't see a reason why you can't have a software engineer who's making $1 million projects also like gut and skin a sheep in his own garage. And it's like he's like living this absolutely fully self-sustainable lifestyle, or nearly close to fully self-sustainable, but still taking part in white collar. Really like world, like top of the world level technical innovation. I don't think China or India are ever going to catch up with America's ability to make tech, because they're very structured people.
Well, it's also that, but it's also second order thinking. They just want to do what we do. They don't think about being like the first man.
Not visionaries.
Yeah, they don't think about being the first man on terra firma. They just look at what we do and be like, we'll just do that but cheaper. And like that's our game plan.
Yeah, I think bricks is entirely a no-go, because that like it's a very low trust, but it's also like very derivative.
They all hate each other. Like that's the thing. It's like China and Russia don't like each other. Brazil doesn't like either of them. Like it's like everybody who's in that coalition can't stand each other. And their whole thing is just like, well, we don't like each other, but we also hate America. The problem is like China and India, like their economies are dependent on like the bones that we throw them. So like they can hate us all they want, but
they're dependent on extracting from functional systems.
Yeah.
Because they don't produce like the social coefficient of friction or the transaction costs are just too high.
And hell, the problem with China. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, as long as we keep doing what we're doing right now, I think China probably won't last more than 10 years. Like I used to be like, what was it, Peter Zahan or whatever the fuck his name is? Like way bullish on America to a degree that's a little bit outside of logic, but he'd probably be made right just because of the way America is working now. It's like we just have to stop funding this nonsense. Like they're too incompetent to build a bridge.
the seams of like communist China, like they're already like starting to come apart. Like you're seeing a very like wide subsect of people who are able to like slip the net to like contact like outsiders from like mainland China. It's like this shit sucks. Like everything is like it's got a gilded veneer, but like everything's terrible. Like
RGB LEDs on
all of
top
our
of a
buildings
hellscape.
can't stand up. All of our food tastes like crap. Like it's just like they're letting us know, and it's just like this can't. It's not sustainable. They're not gonna make it another century if they even make it another 50 years. And that's me being
they
generous.
put a lot of regarding this chat. They put a lot of blue LEDs on things.
Yeah,
it's still like, dog shit, but it has blue LEDs, so it's future.
I know this guy. Like I know this guy, Coyote. All the stuff you see about like, wow, China's like so cool, and like look at all this stuff they've got. There's a term for that. It's called Wu Mao, and Wu Mao are specifically a propagandist element that exists because they the Wu Mao it's like an e-commissariat class that the CCP gives out, and what they do is they go to like the really nice touristy areas of China, and they make these like glamour videos, be like, "Wow, look how futuristic China's society is," and like they're the only ones who are allowed to have internet access to the rest of the world, so strictly so they can do propaganda and nothing else.
Like yuan is also a made-up currency that's for outsiders too. Like when you like their currencies, they have all of America's fakeness in spades, like far beyond. Like we don't have fake cities. Like, this is insane levels of, and they'll say like, "Oh, we have so much power grid, and we have all these nuclear plants." Like, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I bet you your all of your power plants are below 50% of what the capacity that you state them to be.
Well, people love to attack our like domestic problems because did you guys hear about like the Texas like snowmageddon a couple years ago?
Yeah. When pipes are freezing. Yeah.
Do you know what happened? Our power grid that has performed perfectly and consistently since LBJ willed it into existence since like the 60s. It got a little bit overloaded because over the years we've gotten a bunch of transplants, and also we got like a once in a century snowstorm. It had some problems and a lot of people lost power. I lost power. And you know what? It sucked. But you know what? As soon as that happened, the state government took a lot of stock. They made a lot of improvements, and it's been like 4 or 5 years at this point. We never had that problem again. And Texas consistently ices over or snows over every January or February, at least once, sometimes both, but at least once. And in that time, we've never had that problem ever again.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of our enemies, and I include our rivals in Europe to be among those enemies, they'll count all the failures of America, but they won't count any of the benefits. I saw this one thing from Carl Benjamin where he's talking about like, oh, the American right doesn't have any real power. I was like, are you fucking retarded?
That's another one. Like I like Carl. I liked Carl a lot more when he was Sargon of Akkad, but I used to hang on his every word when I was in 2016 when I was 20 years old and in college. I hung on his every video because I loved him. I thought he was so smart and I thought he had everything put together. And then eventually the tap kind of ran out on Sargon of Akkad, and he created the Lotus Eaters, which I'm not gonna make any kind of bones about it. Very impressive that he was able to create like a media empire like that. That's genuinely impressive, and I give him kudos for that. But it's just like what used to sustain me when I was 20, like when I was 20 years old, is not just to sustain me when I'm almost 30. Like I'm sorry, Carl, but it's like a lot of your stuff, it's not good enough anymore. I need more than just you like dunking on like Gamergate leftists and like making pithy rejoinders and like it sounds good because you have a British accent.
Another video essay.
And you know what? Do you know what's really funny about it? Did you guys ever see the one video that he deleted off of his old Sargon channel?
No, which one was that?
So he made a video, and this was like a little bit before or in like the very early days of COVID, but he made a video where it was Carl and like two of his like best friends from high school or like whatever the British equivalent of high school is. I think they call it high school, or maybe they call it like secondary school or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like two of his like best friends from like secondary school, like they met up and they got like absolutely hammered at the pub, and then they went back to his house and they just kept drinking. And he filmed it because he thought it would be like good content, and he posted it. And I watched it when it came out because I was like, this was during COVID time, so I was still up at like 2 a.m. When he posted it, like British time. And it was just them joking and like talking about like what it was like when they were like, teenagers. And it was genuinely really funny. Like there was like one anecdote where it's like, he's like, oh, like, oh, mate, like what, why didn't you ever ask out, like, what's her name? She really liked you. And he's just like, no, she didn't like me. He's just like, why would you say that? No, it was obvious. It was like, well, she was a lesbian. He was like, no, she wasn't a lesbian. He's like, she was a lesbian. He was like, how do you know? He's like, well, she was on the footy team. And then Carl and like the other guy just start like laughing so hard they start crying because like this guy from Swindon is like so inundated that he thinks like a woman playing soccer means she's a lesbian. And it's just like, but it was so endearing. It's like this is Carl is like this just shows me like Carl's like a real guy with like real life experience that we've all had. Like we all have that like one or two guys from high school that we still keep up with.
Carl doesn't all right, so I'm going to say something. I don't think Carl makes a great philosopher because a great philosopher should be divorced from existence in a certain way, but still have enough investment to care and try to make something proper. But if you're an Englishman, you're an Englishman first and then a philosopher second, always.
I think a philosopher should be kind of a drunk and should be very sociable.
All right, well, Cosmo, what's your thoughts?
A kind of reality rejecting asceticism actually takes you into dangerous places. It is not a universally helpful attitude, and in fact recognizing that you are particularist and how you are particular is actually really, really crucial. Philosophers, the more they try and stand apart from reality without variation, the worse they get.
Well, I'm not saying that you should be divorced from reality. I'm saying that you should not allow reality to completely. Not like it's not even reality. No, I'm not even talking about reality. I'm not saying you should reject reality. You should have to reject your bonds of allegiance, like your personal bonds of allegiance. Like you can't say that I'm an Englishman, also a philosopher, because you're already gonna build in presupposed notions that are going to determine what your thinking is.
See, here's the thing: everyone does that. Everyone does that.
I don't know if everyone does that.
Your particularities of your worldview are heavily culturally mediated, whether you recognize it or not. You can try and like rise above it. You can stand outside of it and certainly see things from how another's perspective may look, but the fact of the matter is like the automaticity of your perspective is actually conditioned by experience. You will never be a strictly formalistic philosopher when it comes to your metaphysical outlook and your baseline value propositions, and you oughtn't be. The people who convince themselves that they are incredibly dangerous.
Well, I do agree that you are shaped by your experiences and everything. What I'm saying is like, I'll give my particular criticism. I feel like Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin as a philosopher is already on Team England, and anything that's against Team, like if I'm an American
counterpoint, you're just on Team America, and like
the thing is I'm on Team America, but I want to criticize America. Like me trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with America and then embrace all of its bad points is actually part of my service to America. But I feel like the British don't want to like embrace their bad points or understand them. It ends up becoming
I mean, I can say this with like a little bit of hindsight because I watched him back when he was like Sargon of Akkad. I think Carl is perfectly aware I think the media image that he presents himself as Carl Benjamin of the Lotus Eaters is a little different. That being said,
I see less and less of the critic. Like the thing is, every good. All right, so maybe I think Alex Cosma, you're right, and I think Benign Numbers, you're right. Maybe every great philosopher is really a critic, and an aspirant of their own civilization, their own experience. Maybe that's,
I will
maybe
say,
that's another way of thinking about it.
I will say, I got very oh, sorry. Go. No, I'm sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say a Greek philosopher is trying to say, like, why are we falling short as Greeks, and where do we want to be? What is a Greek? What is the ideal Greek? Right? Like, what is Aristotle and Plato are going to have a discussion of how to get there and what that even is. But it's like what I see, like the British philosophical trends. It's like, or even European and Western Europeans in general. It's like, we're already perfect. How do we justify our downfall by scapegoating somebody else? I'm like, this is not elevating you.
Well,
like this is actually degenerate.
I was gonna say, when I was in college, like as part of my degree plan, I had to take like not psychology, like philosophy, like 101, which initially, like as a as like a 19-year-old, I was like excited about because I thought that would be cool. Because like I read into a lot of it myself personally, on my like under my own power when I was in high school because I thought that was cool. And the problem was I had this like massive, just like hippy dippy, like shitlib professor who like only wanted to like talk about like philosophies that she personally liked. And whenever like I would try to like talk to her after lecture about like, I was like, I'm kind of interested in like in Nietzsche, and she'd be like, it was like, oh, Nietzsche is bad because like that's like the Nazi like philosophy. And I was like, and I read into like Nietzsche, and I was like, oh wait, that's bullshit. That's not true. But it's just like it's like
I did have a professor in my freshman year that I called loud. I don't know why. I kirked out one day and I was like, called her a communist, and then switched out of my class. It was crazy.
I wish I had that opportunity, but I had to have just one. I was like, I'm just gonna get through this and like screw this. I don't care anymore. But it's just like, but anyway, it was like the whole point is like she had this thing is like. He's just like very hippy dippy shit. Like everyone is a philosopher, and like after I've ruminated on this for years, and I was like, that's obviously that's horseshit. Like no, not everybody is a philosopher. However,
Cosmo's a trained philosopher, by the way.
I would posture that everybody who is like a smart, rational thinker should want to be a philosopher. Like everything you think. And everything that all of the positions that you hold, you should want to try to have a philosophy about the world and like what you think. Instead of trying to prescribe to one, you should try to understand what you actually believe, and you should try to present that and carry it forth as a philosophy if you can.
Yeah, experience will pretty much lay bare what your philosophy really is. Hey, Cosmo, what's your thoughts on it? Like, what is a good philosopher? Who is a useful philosopher? Is it a man who's married to his country? Is like how much entanglement, how much dedication? And by the way, be fully disagreeable. I couldn't care less. I want to learn.
I mean, I think Leo Strauss kind of as much as I generally dislike Strauss, I think Strauss kind of has a point that a philosopher is necessarily somewhat must be necessarily somewhat antagonistic to the society he finds himself in.
Like Socrates?
Yeah. The greatest critic of their own self. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes
I think
that makes,
so yeah. I think that's kind of true as far as it goes.
Well, he's the one who's pushing on Chechen's fence of his own society, right? Like these are the fences that I think we should cross. I want to push on them.
Yeah.
Well, like you still have to uphold the traditions, or else, or do you, as a philosopher, what's your duty to tradition?
So I think that's highly. I mean, we're back to talking about pre-trans type stuff, and the pre-rational, rational, and post-rational positions. Man, I really don't like.
Oh, you're good. No, it's like
I don't think often in the terms of describing someone as a philosopher or not, in terms of like a true essence. I'm sort of at the point where I treat it more like a demeanor or an attitude.
Oh.
Okay, I can see that.
I can understand that. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, because like what a true philosopher is can be, you know, sort of anywhere on their intellectual journey and of varying degrees of danger to their, you know, to their host society.
Some of the greatest philosophers I've met have been working men who are old, getting old, like they're 50 plus, and they have a lot of hobbies that they've varied throughout the years. One of the hobbies is always history. And they start having very dangerous opinions, and they're the most interesting to talk to.
Yeah,
and as I feel like, is it a citizen's duty to become a philosopher? I suppose that's where I'm getting at. We're getting on in age and everything. It's like our society, and back to the subject at hand. We have like these Elijah Schaffers, these fucking theater kids who are leading our people into the shit.
They're leading a handful of people into the shit.
Well, I mean,
yeah. I mean, I think it's your duty. I think it's your duty to like be a philosopher. You know, I do almost kind of prefer Nietzsche's term of like being a psychologist, actually.
I like it, so I don't think that's wrong.
You need
I don't know that position. What is that?
You essentially you need to know, you know, you need to have acclimated yourself in that domain well enough, or another domain, to just be able to detect who's full of shit or not, and who has an interest in truth or expanding, like, you know, a substantive understanding of reality versus people who have essentially mercenary attitudes, and no real interest in truth or correspondence, and are simply looking for advancement, and that regard words and ideas as strictly instrumental.
And this is the thing that
So one other thing just to say, numbers, I think I'm somewhat against your position that you need to understand what you believe. I think you need to have a pretty robust relationship to truth, but you also need to understand that, like, you will have like multiple areas of belief. Like, there are all sorts of knowledge domains that are in fact contradictory and mutually exclusive in their axioms. They're not wrong. They produce results, but they are axiomatically conflicted.
Well, that's not, I mean, like, that's not terribly difficult for me to understand, because, as you both know, I'm a Catholic. Sure. And so, you know, a lot of the Christian belief is they are, in certain situations, they are axiomatically diametric. But that's the thing. It's just like it's all about like cause and purpose, because, like, you know, to be a Christian is to be conflicted in like so many different areas, and what is happening at the exact moment is like what will help you make your decision on what is right and what is the action that you should do in this given moment. And that's what I was saying to Alex earlier. I mean, you were here too, but it's just to be a Christian is to be constantly conflicted, and like to be beset upon by thoughts, and, you know, like what you should do, and like what you're able to do. It's like it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to live that way. So it's the idea that, like, well, yes, like philosophically you could be diametrically opposed, and like these axioms. It's like, no, I think I can understand. And like very often I think I do understand, because, like, I mean, even in a secular position, from just like, you know, like constitutionally, like there's a lot, and like there's a guy I've been talking to in a separate Discord server that I'm in. Like, he's constantly trying to like talk about like constitutionality of like the stuff that's going on with ICE. Is this constitutionally acceptable? And I was like, well, I think it is. And he says, well, no, it's not. And so it's just what we would normally think in certain situations does change. Like, I would never love the idea of like, I'm just walking down the street, just doing my daily due diligence, and I see like the beat cop that I encountered, you know, 9 times out of 10, suddenly he doesn't have a name. a name badge on, he doesn't have a badge number on, he's wearing a mask. It's like, well, that guy, like, I don't know who that is. But it's like, it's the idea that like I don't like that. I don't know him. I don't think that's okay. Compare that to like a specific like division like ICE, where it's like they deal with like cartel guys. And like if cartel guys know your name and know your face, they will send people to kill your family.
Leftists are dishonest sorcerers. Like I honestly have very little. Wait, they don't have a wide variety of moral positions. Essentially, once you understand their moral foundations, they're very easy to understand all of them.
No, and absolutely. Like, but it's like, but you understand like what I'm kind of positive.
No, yeah, like, I getcha.
Like there are certain situations where I would be okay with a certain set of actions as long as I knew there were outstanding requirements that set it beyond the normal scope of how things should work.
My particular thoughts on this issue. Human rights are a luxury good, and once someone starts subverting your human rights, you may have to respond with more primitive means for expelling the threat. And more primitive means, this is what destroys the West, by the way. This is what destroys especially Europe, and I see it destroys England in particular. More primitive means requires you must have faith in those who hold power, which is anathema to what the post-war West has built itself upon. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Almost all power is absolute until a century ago.
Well, and we can also get back into like what we were kind of talking about, like because it's relevant, we can get back into talking about what we were talking about before the pre-show. I don't like it when libertarians try to use the concept of power and the One Ring interchangeably, because they're not.
No, yeah, this is my main
political like elected public official power that you can get through a legitimate democratic election is not the same thing as a literal magic object of power that that contains the soul of the Antichrist, that once you put it on your finger will absolutely corrupt you, because it is a magic. It's magic. It's fucking magic. It's a magic ring.
You caught the entire reason why I think Lord of the Rings is a terrible mythos in terms of how to raise people, because it conflates power with corruption, and it makes it absolute. So it becomes this thing of like, I must avoid having power.
Well, I made the case last time that
Tolkien didn't write it.
True.
Tolkien didn't write it that way.
No, he definitely
That's not the point.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter what he wrote it for. It's what people are using it for, which is why I'm also in Tolkien's camp of like, hey, don't use this.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you.
They
should use it because it's stupid.
I'm pro Tolkien. I'm like, don't use this. This is some bullshit stories. We're having fun. You should probably wear the ring. Like Boromir. That's what I'm saying, is if I wanted to redo Lord of the Rings to make it something that was mythologically useful to the modern world, I'd be like, Boromir should steal the ring and then repel a fatal attack on Minas Tirith with the ring. And then the Fellowship has to then take the ring back by force.
But Alex, you already have a refutation of like the people who like try to like take Lord of the Rings too seriously, and it's Monty Python. Because like what's that one joke in the Holy Grail where it's like, why, I don't think I support a government that's supported by magic ladies and lakes giving people swords.
Yeah.
It's like it's like
lying in ponds distributing swords. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But it's just like you could just do it that way. It's like, it's dumb. It's like it's just make fun of, like, just all you have to do is like, you can still enjoy Lord of the Rings. You can still
I just want to ridicule, like, have fun. I just want to ridicule libertarians. It's like I want to go to their meetings and stuff them in the lockers.
Make fun of them the same way that I make fun of like leftists who like care too much about Harry Potter. Harry Potter's still a very perfectly good book series. Just make fun of them. Like, just make fun of them until they go away.
But so the thing is here now is that a lot of Americans, a lot of Westerners are not comfortable with what has to be done to save the West. And you're just going to have to make some women sad. And that might include some men too. It's like, you're just going to make them sad. They're just going to deal with it. And then Tempest.
That's my counter.
So what?
That's my counter. Try to distract them. Take them dancing. Take them to a nice dinner.
I think that's what Trump is kind of doing with the Epstein files, to be honest.
He's not.
I think he's
no.
used. I think he's.
Trump did not want those files to come out, and the reaction that we've seen from them coming out is exactly why, is because it's a bunch of unfounded, baseless rumors and like random
been
anonymous
discrediting all of his like
lines.
panicins. It's been horrendously discrediting to his panicins.
Oh, God.
Well, it's people are saying like, oh, this is a great moral outrage. Therefore, we want justice restored and the right moral order reimposed and some sign of transparency that the wrongdoers have been punished and blah blah blah. And this is mimetically morphed into give us the raw data and like, okay, what you're asking for is a narrative of the reassertion of justice. The raw data is absolutely inconsistent of that. You will not know what to make of it. You will drive yourselves fucking crazy because there's no sense to it. You're also like a dummy presupposing that everything coming out of the FBI is comprehensive when in fact if you want the full picture of what the president can give, it comes from the CIA. And and you're asking for the raw data. You are just going to be upset by this. And further, like the details of what you will see in the raw data, like when you get the video archives and stuff like that, will be so horrifying and so upsetting that like the only reason you would ask for this is if you were conditioning yourself
as a trap,
a very brief transitory episode of extremely wanton bloodletting where you kill a lot of people in society because of how horrid the things you have to see will be. Is that what you want when you say you want the files? No, it's fucking not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, have I ever postured to either of you like what my theory on like the quote unquote Epstein files is?
No, I don't think I've
go for it. Yeah,
okay.
Give it to us now.
So I've been saying this for like a long time, and with this random drop that just happened, I'm feeling a little bit vindicated. My personal philosophy, based on like what I have seen, which is not much, nobody's seen anything, but I've always postured that there are no Epstein files. And when I say that, what I mean by that is there's no little black book that showed like this celebrity, this politician, this world leader, he bought sex from this little girl that I trafficked to Little St. James.
Oh yeah.
There is no
we already got his little black book, and it's like a bunch of random ass names and phone numbers and everything else lived in this guy's mind.
Like there is no quote unquote Epstein list.
You're referring to a narrative.
Absolutely.
You're referring to a narrative, and that's like everyone who wants the Epstein. So I wrote this on a post on X a little bit ago, but what people see is the Epstein files, like the mythos of Epstein, is that they see the mythos as almost like mortar or shellac on their own ideological mythos of their own people. I saw Dan Tubb from Lotus Eaters saying that this is some the Epstein was an anti-Anglo conspiracy. And I was like, I had to think for a second, like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, oh yeah, that's right, Prince Charles or whatever. I was like,
Prince Andrew,
okay,
yeah. But so it's the like, well, but like there's more political capital in them not being seen than anything else because people can speculate.
The thing is, it's part of their mythos. So they've built this like, I am a downtrodden Anglo. I am a this. I am a that. But it's part of my mythos that Epstein was the magical sorcerer that was destroying my people.
But here's
there's no narrative. There's no satisfying narrative at the end of this. It's just a bunch of FBI files. If you ever look at raw data and files, there is no narratives are so rare to come across when you collect data. That they will never find a satisfying end to the narrative they've had to weave to cope with the fact that they're a downfallen people,
right? But to me, like in my personal to my personal conspiracy brain, the Epstein files are Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the one who knows everything. And she's said it before. Like he's like, I'll tell you what I know if you give me a plea bargain. And everyone's like, no, we're not giving you a plea bargain. And so it's just like she's the one who knows everything. Like there's no little black book. There's no files. There's they have some investigative materials, and they dropped them. It was a bunch of like very circumstantial emails from Jeffrey Epstein, and a bunch of like very circumstantial like phone calls and anonymous tip lines that are all unsubstantial because it's from crazy schizophrenics who are just calling a tip line to be like, yes, I saw Donald Trump bury a 9-year-old on a golf course that he didn't even own until 3 years later, like that kind of stuff. It's like that's what dropped because that's all they have. They have a bunch of random stuff that's not actually to do with the investigation.
The reason why they dropped it, in my opinion, is to completely discredit those who are obsessed with this Epstein stuff.
They dropped it because Thomas Massie voted on it, and he's a vindictive asshole that hates Donald Trump because Donald Trump didn't stroke his ego and give him what he wants.
Yeah, Thomas Massie's a dick.
I freaking
someday I have to tell you guys about why there's only one Thomas Massie or one Ron Paul at a time. By the way.
Oh yeah, what's that? Yeah?
Interesting. Is it a quick explanation or is that involved? It's like a show.
I'll listen to the involved explanation. Right, I just want to hear it.
We'll do it later. We gotta give it justice.
The short version is it's essentially supply and demand, and that's the supply that clears the market.
Oh, I see. So it's like
you have to remember
we only have one jester, right?
You have to remember Thomas Massie alleged that he had like 20 like files of like confirmed like Epstein clients. He's like, if the DOJ doesn't drop this exactly when I and the Democrat Party say, I'll drop this. And they dropped what they had, and he still hasn't released what he knows. So it's like either you have nothing and you're sitting on it, or either you have nothing and you have nothing, or you still have actual like crimes against humanity.
This is really mean of me to say, by the way. One thing that MAGA needs to do if it wants to mature past its current stage, I'm going to just channel my inner Yarvin a little bit, like power politics. It's going to have to start releasing large, in-depth investigation documentaries on its political enemies, like full deep dives into Thomas Massie's life.
We already got him. He's got a weird.
No. I need something you can just give to your normie like auntie, and be like, "Oh, this guy's bad news."
He was a man who was concerned with the Constitution until he wasn't.
Well, and it's also like go after his sons. Like, be shameless. Honestly, like ask them what their opinion is while they're like at bell practice.
Yeah, like, do a six-part Netflix documentary about like the malfeasance of Thomas Massie.
Correct. Who is Thomas Massie?
Just show like a black and white photo of Thomas Massie. It's like dun dun dun. Who is Thomas Massie? Like it shows like photo negative.
Elite educated MIT graduate studied under who was the GNU guy who went to the island as well?
I can't remember.
He's like not Rothbard. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. Anyways, he's the one who made GNU. But he was a major pederast or something. Massey would have studied under him.
We'll try to kind of guide it back to like the core issue at hand a little bit. It's like, did you see that thing that apparently like some of the leaks might have like originated from like hackers like operating within the Vatican? And it came out like
I saw so many Catholics just like nutting over that, and I was like,
but here's the thing: it's personal correspondence between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein, which I mean, like Steve Bannon is like he's the most fair weather person in politics I think I've ever seen. He agreed to go to jail to like not like give stuff over at like about Jan 6, but apparently he's like super uber duper buddy with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
But it's like some of that stuff is like him and like Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon just like commiserating each other over how much they hate Catholics. And it's just like, well, like, here's the thing. A lot of people who don't know a lot about the Catholic Church, like, they love to do the whole, priests molest little kids thing. Like, they love to do that, but they don't understand that, like, after that, like, actually broke out, there was, like, like massive, wide sweeping reforms to like make sure that could like never happen again inside the church. And it's like to the point where like they went even further than just doing it in the church, where they tried to like go outside the church to like try to stop like child trafficking operations like altogether.
Right? It's the dogs that aren't barking. Is that you had that hullabaloo, and then you didn't have any follow up, right? Like obviously,
yeah, it's like it happened. The people got caught, and the people got handed over to the proper authorities, and then it was like we can't even stand to like just let this go on like here. It's like we have to stop it from going on anywhere, and so like the Catholic Church like went on like this like massive like bureaucratic crusade to try to like help all the nations of the world like stamp out like child trafficking, to the point where Jeffrey Epstein's like, I hate them, like they need to be stopped. And like, because that was like a thing where it's like Pope Francis, may God rest him, it's like that was like his prime directive, is like he hated the subjugation of children. Like that was one of his biggest issues. And he was like one of the like, but when he was still a bishop, he was like one of the ones like leading the charge about like, these priests who have violated their vows, you must punish them.
There's too many faggots in the Catholic Church, right?
There's too much faggotry. That's one of my favorite lines from a pope ever.
Funny. It's pretty funny. I don't mind. That's why I say it. That's why I say it unabashedly, like full slurring it here on YouTube. Is like that is pretty funny to say.
Well, here's the like, and like that's like that just goes like forward to is just like there's this weird thing about Catholicism that allows so much of the e-trads to fester and form. And what that is if they don't like what the current pope is doing, even if he's completely acting within the bounds of like the faith, there's this very specific heretical like draft of Catholics called Sedvancatists. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. But what these people are is they have this weird conspiracy theory that the last legitimate pope, I think they say it was John Paul II, back in the back whenever he passed away. But I might be wrong. It might be like a later pope. But they believe that like every pope after that is not actually the pope. It's an anti-pope that's like sitting on the throne illegitimately, and so therefore everything that the church teaches like heretofore is like illegitimate, and therefore we do not have to follow. It's like this is not a mainstream belief. This is not an acceptable belief. This is like weird fringe stuff that is like not accepted by anybody. But like Mel Gibson like espoused some of this stuff on like Joe Rogan because he's a crazy person. But it's just like it's like this. It's a very weird justifiable thing where it's like if the current like if the current like pope and like the actual like running of the church doesn't let you like propagate your weird hateful belief ideology, you can just pretend like I was like, oh, I'm actually like this I'm the real Catholic. It's these other people that aren't real because they think the pope is actually the pope. And it's like that's another thing that endears it. Like there's always a back door. There's always a way out. Like they like there's always like some kind of way they can get away from like actually having to believe in the catechism and like the teachings of the church. Like there's always an out. They can always get away.
That face when you got out. Getting away. It's like I'm out.
But yeah, no, it's like that. But it's just like no, it's like Pope Francis is like one of the most like lied about people like in the planet. Which was so funny. Like it was so funny to me because people be like, damn the mainstream media. Like they keep lying about Trump. They made up all this stuff about Trump. Can you believe that? And it's like a bunch of left-wing rags like took the Pope out of context to like push a narrative and like, yeah, Catholic Church, it's fallen, bro. I always knew it. And it's like, okay, so you don't believe they might be lying about this guy too? Is that not possible? Okay, whatever.
I've only got enough brain power for one front of politics and barely enough that I don't really at this point right now. I'm just like Trump's probably doing okay. I just sort of have faith in him.
I think he's doing fine. I don't have any complaints so far.
Did you see that, by the way? There's someone leaked to Axios or talked to Axios anonymously and says like, well, I think these Panicans need to get some Depends because they're constantly shitting their pants. I was like,
oh yeah,
this is exactly what Cosmo's been talking about. It's like,
by the way, that guy I talked about in, like the other server where it's like he and I disagree about ice. It's like she's like, yeah, dude, like everybody hates ice. I was like, I don't think so. And he's like, oh yeah, what's your proof? And he's like, I've never seen ice here in Texas. I was like, ice is here all the time, man. What are you talking about? And he's just like, no, they're not. I was like, dude, they did a raid at a factory that's like it's like across the street from where I work for all of the Hispanics that like they hired illegally. Like they were there. I saw it with my own eyes. Here's the difference, man.
So far, I'm not seeing a major pulling swing away from ICE or deportations.
In fact, like most people think it's okay. Like they think they're acting like within the bounds of the law. But it's like he's just like, I've never seen him here. It's like they're here, and it's just then why don't I see what's going on in Minnesota up here or like down here? It's like because the governor told the police to cooperate with ICE. That's why.
And there's not like huge mobs of leftists being pitched in, and there's not news crews everywhere catching it because it's essentially like just proceeding with operations uncontroversially.
Well, it's like the leftists will like they'll do like a little march or they'll do like a lame little like rah session in like a public park where there's like less than 50 people, and they'll do that and be like, look at all this anti-ICE sentiment everywhere around. It's like, well, they're trying to wow, so many people are going down with this.
They're trying to appeal to consensus, which, by the way, the right is kind of the right is actually pretty immunized against because we don't care about consensus. If it's the right thing to do, we just do it.
It's the whole thing about statistics. It's like statistics. I forget who said it, but like statistics don't exist to represent reality. They exist to guide it.
Yeah. We don't care about consensus whatsoever. We don't care how many people agree with us. This is another reason why I psychologically do not endorse ladies being the forefront of your political movement. Because if they see something that's really sad or really awful or really unpopular, they'll start to get second thoughts.
I saw this libertarian guy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No.
I was gonna say they become your biggest enemy. They'll like join the other side and be like a major spokesman of like, I used to be in the MAGA movement, but now I left because immigrants looked real sad when I deported them.
Yeah, the immigrant was crying. He was crying. But yeah, no, it's like I saw it like the same libertarian guy I keep complaining about. Like he tried to like say like we need to like implement a Heinleinian kind of government like what you see in like Starship Troopers, and I was like, what? And he's just like, yeah, dude, like I think it's like you need to prove that you can like serve the civic good before you can like get the vote. And I was like, it was like, okay, like you, like all you do, in my mind, it was like, all you do is like fucking hate cops, you hate ICE, you hate the feds. All you do is like hate on any law enforcement that like happens to exist at like any given time. And I was like, okay, well, you're talking about like civic virtue and like civic service. Like, do cops get the vote? He's like, yes. And I was like, okay, well, I feel like you're working against yourself here. But it's also like here's the problem with that is like he's trying to like base it on like he watched like Starship Troopers the movie. If you read Starship Troopers the book, the only way you can possibly get like citizen quote unquote citizenship is through military service. And Heinlein tried to go back on that later, like after he wrote the book, like 20 years later, he tried to be like, no, there's other. I didn't mean it that way. There's other examples of how you can like have citizenship without military service. But like other people were like, no, here's a direct like refutation of like what you're saying. No, right. Like the way you wrote the book, you can only have a vote if you serve in the military.
Yeah, and it depends on the military too, because like right now, if you said, "Oh, you get a vote if you're in the military," during the Obama years, the Biden years, that would not have been a good thing for America.
What horrible!
You could just hand out.
But
commendations,
that's the problem. Like that's the problem with like trying to say like Starship Troopers is like really cool. Is like I'm not trying to take that away. I love the movie of Starship Troopers. I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. That being said, I'm not basing my political ideology about it. I think it's a good movie.
I think property. I think like America is amazing because we had property ownership and therefore an ability to materially thrive as a gatekeeping mechanism. It wasn't if you were a Christian necessarily. Well, it wasn't because you were. It wasn't because you were some other circumstance. You didn't have to have children, right? Property owner, landowner, which means you were able to make that land productive. That makes you a citizen, and you get to vote. It wasn't based on how much
and that's great, but that's also a society that exists without corporations.
Sure. Yeah, like it was a society where most people were agricultural and not artisanal, right? Like,
but
a software engineer is an artisan, in my opinion.
Yeah, but my point is, like, you do not want to look to like Robert A. Heinlein as like your like be all end all of like what is civics, what is this or that, because he wrote.
Honestly, there's a map of just like people who pay net payment into the government via taxes.
Well, but the reason why like Heinlein's not a good example is because like he wrote Starship Troopers as a satire, and the point of the satire was to point out that like the idea is not like being a citizenship should just give you like voter access. It's the idea that you need second order thinking to be a voter, because you need to be able to think beyond just like what's important right this immediate second. You need to think what will make society better in the long term.
A lot of
those are the people who should be allowed to vote. Like that was like his point.
Well, I don't know if he made that point super well. It's like stakeholder, because it was like stakeholder. You're suffering, you're sacrificing for your nation.
Well, but
do you have the mental capacity to understand?
The whole satire is like you won't do this unless you're actually civically involved. Like you'd be stupid to do it any other way, because it's not just war. It's a war where it's like it's basically an organ grinder where you're fighting these like giant bugs where there's like a 99% chance you're gonna get like shredded apart before you even like actually.
Well, that's only when you're only in a condition of war. It's only when you're in a condition of war. But like I'm saying is like. In real life, I found that veterans are a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes they are veterans that are just bloodthirsty psychos, or have nothing else better to do. Like they're like one step away from jail.
Well, in
the real world, I don't give a shit about Heinlein's like imaginary world of civic duty. It's like no, in the real world, if you're willing to go fight people, it tends to be like not our best.
But that's the thing. It's like he wasn't trying to demean that. It's satire in like the classical sense, because I feel like nowadays a lot of people think like satire means like, oh, you're making fun of it, you're making light of it. But it's like that's not like in the classical sense of like what satire is. It's just like you're using something to sort of like poke fun, but also like propose something on the side. Like 40K is kind of like that too. Where it's like, yes, like 40K is like a satire of like a lot of stuff, but it's like people are like, it's just a satire of fascism, bro. It's like, no, it's a satire of like militarism, and there's a difference. Because
the thing is you have to satirize it's a human condition, because if you start saying like, oh, militarism and fascism and communism and capitalism,
like 40K is a satire in so much as it's a moral conundrum. And the satire comes from like, okay, well, we're presenting it to you like this way, but it's just like what concessions on the human experience would you be prepared to limit to make sure that humanity survives? And that's the satire of 40K.
I'm gonna shit all over. Yeah, all right, Cosmo. I see that. I think Cosmo. The problem I have with any like discussion over the suffrage is like it doesn't fucking matter. We've already everyone who can vote now.
Yeah, everyone who can vote can vote. I agree. I just find
the entire discussion extremely boring because it's over. So it's like I'm just gonna dance this one out. Let's talk about something that's more interesting. All right, I want to do real quick. JD Vance, to me, having almost read his entire book, it takes me a long ass time to read a book, by the way, because I have to find time where I can like think and relax. Fucking hell, my God, my job is such a fucking slog.
This isn't because of my job; it's just because I have so much going on. I don't have so much time to read. I've been trying to read.
I love reading. I actually really enjoy reading. It's
I do.
My brain needs to be ready for it.
I only have like so much time. Do you know how long it's taken me to try to read "On the Road" by Jack Kerouac?
I don't know that. I don't know what that book is or who that guy is, but yes, I understand how long it takes you to read.
I've been trying to finish this book for almost 2 years. I still haven't finished it yet. It's not.
Damn,
It's not
brother,
because
you
it's
seal
not
the
because it's a
deal,
bad
brother.
book. It's just I don't have a lot of time for just dedicated reading.
Listen. JD Vance.
I was gonna say, if a work of fiction took me that long for any reason, I would just put it down and say fuck it.
I like it. I'm just busy.
Yeah. Unbusy yourself. The JD Vance of this next 8 years, because he's likely to get the nomination. I think Rubio has already said I'm not gonna fight this guy on it, which is like, okay, seal the deal. That's the only rivalry.
I'd be good between the two of them.
It'd be funny if Rubio is just like behind him, like the second rapper in any rap music video, where he just like pops up and says the thing and then just disappears back behind JD Vance.
He's the Dr. Dre to JD Vance's Ice Cube.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's how it's going to play out, which means it's going to be unstoppable, which means that they're prioritizing stability and order over merit, which I don't like on its face, but I already know they're both merit. It's okay when everyone's already met the threshold of merit. Rubio's good. JD Vance is fine. If they've doled out a deal to make this thing happen, 8 years of Vance, I think my main thing I predict from this, Donald Trump has a certain affinity for Europe. It seems like JD Vance, from his history and the leaked text from earlier this year or last year, he seems to he's going to be part of the disassociation between America and Europe.
Well, the whole thing, thing about it is there's also a charisma element, and JD Vance has charisma. It's obvious. He has charisma to what he does endears people. I'm not saying Marco Rubio is like a bad orator or a bad legislator. It's just he's very stiff and he's very administrative. So he's good for like a VP. He's good for a VP or like a cabinet member or something. He's good for that. But he doesn't have the charisma. Same with what's his nuts? DeSantis. DeSantis has zero charisma.
Yeah,
nobody actually likes this guy. But when at Halloween, on Halloween Day, when JD Vance showed up in the perm wig and just made a little video on his Twitter, remember to say please and thank you, and then he did the little spin around thing. It's that's funny. People like that. It shows that you're a real guy who doesn't get mad when people make fun of you. And the right has embraced it. Yeah, we make the fat perm JD Vance memes, and JD Vance says it's not because we don't like him. We love him. We think he's cool. But it's just it's funny. We just do what's funny, and he thinks it's funny. So we keep doing it.
Yeah, he's got a good grasp of internet culture. He knows when to weigh in and what to provoke at what time. I think what made Trump really good rhetorically is that he knows when to create a shitstorm, which most politicians are afraid to create shitstorms. I think Trump embraces them and knows how to use them.
Well, I think picking a VP for most people is it's become irrelevant, because they don't think of the VP past just be oh, this guy will be the president if the president dies. But it's just a lot of people used to vote on well, his vice president, that guy's got some gumption. I need to consider what that guy would think if he became president.
The thing about it is right now he's getting sent to California, I guess, to deal with the fraud there, which would be a major Democrat stronghold. So he's being sent as essentially
captured that fortress. Holy shit!
In the merchant empire, for a merchant-oriented empire, sending someone to go audit somebody is essentially a military campaign.
Well,
so he's being sent. The last
time a vice president pick actually mattered in this country was, and people can disagree with me, I don't care, but the last time a vice president pick in this country actually mattered was when JFK picked Lyndon Baines Johnson as a running mate, because that was a massive merger. Because the idea that a New England, I think he was a Republican, I think. But like the idea that like a New
Johnson?
England like a New Englander would pick a like Texas Dixiecrat as his vice president, that was unthinkable. Like nobody
very much
ever
like the
thought
Joe
that would
Biden
work.
Obama partnership too.
Like that was like stiff, but it's just like that wasn't like that didn't like blow the roof off the building.
Well, it was the same kind of thing though. You know, because like nobody really super expected or necessarily wanted either of those men to be presidents, because you know they were essentially just like, you know, the party whip. Like they made sure the votes happened in the right way. They were essentially like the party behind the scenes like fixer.
Have you ever heard the audio tapes from JFK about like him talking to his to Bobby Kennedy Sr. about LBJ? Have you ever heard those?
I don't think I have.
Oh God, they're so funny because it's like you just hear these two like these two like super thick like New Englanders like Jack, I gotta talk to you. I don't like it, Jack. I don't like you trying to ally with that fucking cowboy. And it's just like, damn it, Bobby, that cowboy's gonna get us the presidency. So if he's good for votes, he's good for this or a campaign. And it's just listening to like JFK and like Bobby Kennedy Sr. like argue with each other. It's so funny because they have like that like New Englander draw. It's like if you can find any of like the audio tapes of like JFK talking to people like frankly, they're so funny. Like the one where it's like they bought like these expensive like bed, like they bought like this expensive like designer bed or whatever for like Jackie Kennedy on like Air Force 2 or whatever like the boat is. And it's just like he's like, you blew the whole Navy budget. I want it to go back. I want that bed set to go back to the department store. Do you know how much they spent on that? It's like he's just like yelling at like the Secretary of the Navy for like spending money on like designer furniture for the First Lady. It's like people who try to say that like John F. Kennedy was a bad president, they don't know what they're talking about. Like he was perfectly aware of like what governance is and like how a president should behave, and like it shows it definitely shows. Like JFK was a very good president, and it's too bad we never got to see that like fully play out.
Yeah, he kind of preempted. He knew Vietnam was going to become a problem. That's actually kind of like the main thing is that American and I know Cosmo's got to go pretty soon, so we're going to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, the main issue with our leadership is that they don't look forward. But I think for the first time in a very long time, the Republicans have the long vision of what to do, because the essentially the Don Roe doctrine and Vance's predilection for decoupling with Europe, that's going to be fascinating. I think Europe is fucked because America is kind of just done. However, out of the fucked may be a phoenix that helps them out. Like they might rise to the occasion or they might not. That's the thing about it. Like you let go, you put your child in the bicycle, you send them down the hill, and they're going to get a scraped knee or they're going to love it and they're going to do great. There's no two ways about it. There's those two possibilities.
Sure.
I think that after that, Rubio is probably going to be the president who's going to strengthen the entirety of the Western Hemisphere. I don't think Cuba is going to stay independent for more than a few months.
I think a Vance Rubio ticket would be a very good, very popular, like young American.
We're going to purge all of communism out of the Western Hemisphere, and it's going to be completely insane. The Japanese are going to be if Europe, by the way, if Europe behaved the way the Japanese behaved, we wouldn't have these problems. They're just so. Japan is so much better at being a vassal. I don't know why, but they just do. Trump gave them shit once, and they just said, "Yes, sir. I'll work on it. I'll fix it. I'll make it better. I'll increase my military spending." It's like Trump's like, "Oh, it's great. Okay." And then he never ever say anything about Japan ever again.
You know what? I was a little too hasty with the tariffs to Japan. I think I'm going to roll those back.
Just roll us back. No worries. I love Abe. We fed some fish.
Shinzo Abe, hell of a golf player.
Well, being submissive and ritualistic is exactly what you have to do if you're under the rule of an emperor.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like you have to show someone that you're someone who's willing to make a deal. And like
Plus
that's what it's not about submission. It's just like it's about like looking a man square in the eye with your hands on your hips and you say, let's
and
make
then
a
you
deal.
turn around and you bend over.
No, it's like was it as a man, it's just like you have to be able to know your worth, like look a man in the eyes and like, let's make a deal. That doesn't mean you're losing anything. It's just like negotiate from a point of strength. And like Japan's really good at that because like they are good at projecting strength even when they are weak. And so it's just like the concept of let's make a deal that resonates with Donald Trump because he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Like that's like it's if you look a man like strong in the eyes and you don't waver, just say let's make a deal. Like let's negotiate. Like if you try to like go to Donald Trump and be like it's all or nothing, he's gonna give you nothing.
Right. He's trying to. You can't bully America back. That's just how America is. We're very gunboat diplomatists. But yes, we've talked about quite a bit. I hope you guys had some fun. We're gonna head out.
May I say one last thing as the
sure.
as the token house Catholic? Do not listen to Catholic influencers on Twitter. If you are Catholic, this is only for the Catholics in the audience, all one of you. But do not listen to Catholic influencers on Twitter. They don't know what they're talking about.
You should have a priest, right? Every Catholic should have a priest, right?
It's not about priests. You should listen to your priest, but that's not the point. Go to mass. Get involved in your community. Get involved in your parish. Try to honor the sacraments and the Bible as honestly and as earnestly as you can, but don't listen to Nick Fuentes. Don't listen to Elijah Schaffer. Go to church. Go to mass. Go talk to your priest. Go to confession. Talk to the people who are actually around you and in your community. If you want to be a good traditional Catholic, submit to the good traditional Catholic way and go to mass, go to church, get involved with the Knights of Columbus. That's what you need to do. You need to get involved with your community and your parish, and that's where you need to focus. Not about America, where you live, your backyard. That's where you need to go. Go there. That's my advice.
There you go. All right. Very good. All right, guys.
All right.
You've heard it. Go to mass. Get your mass masked again. Mass it up. Get your mass erect. Let's go. I'm out. I'm not Catholic, but I approve this message. Goodbye. Randy.